This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we review the 1979 sci-fi horror classic Alien, plus reactions to all the Star Wars and Marvel announcements from this year's D23 event, and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, August 12th, 2024.
This is Norm MacDonald, and you're listening to the, hang on, I got it here. It says, the Jock and Nerd Podcast, known for their series of gay erotica found on Amazon, No? That's not that? Oh. Well, I fucked that up, I guess.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Shocking, we heard it. We funny, disturb it. We shocking, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah.
Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
And joining us, he's back, listener. He's raw dogging his way through life. That's right. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs? Welcome back.
I'm back and I'm drunk.
We missed you. You know, that term, raw dogging, apparently it means something else now.
Wow, in what context are you referring to me raw dogging? I only do it one way.
Have you heard the kids say this? Like, there's
the flight. Didn't we talk about this last week?
No, we did it. Did we?
I don't remember. I've had this conversation with multiple people in the last few weeks.
I wasn't here last week, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I was saving it for Rugs, so we didn't talk about it. So, raw dogging to us, Rugs, what is that? What did that mean?
Not wearing a condom.
Exactly. Unprotected sex. That's what raw dogging, I thought, meant. Apparently now it means what, Anthony?
I mean, you can use it in a lot of different contexts, but people are now raw dogging flights.
Yes, it sounds dirty. It's not.
So what that means is basically you just you on your screen in front of you, you watch the flight map and you take no water, you don't pee, you don't put any headphones in, you don't sleep. You just watch the flight map.
No devices. You just sit there like a psychopath.
And you raw dog the flight.
So now that's called raw dogging. It used to be
just doesn't make any sense.
Used to be called just existing and living, but now that's raw dogging. So what do the kids call unprotected sex now? I don't know. It's like, crisps are fries in Europe, or fries are chips here, or something, or it's the side. I'm so confused. So, the other one I like the kids are using? No notes. I love it. No notes. I like that.
What's
one.
no notes?
What's no notes?
Like Trump?
No, that means like if you're trying to say,
when you approve of something, you have no notes.
Yeah, when you're trying to review something, you're like, I love this, no notes. Like you have no notes for the person. It's kind of stupid.
Where'd you hear that?
I've been hearing that a lot.
That's writer's room speak.
I've been hearing that a lot outside of like writer's room. People are like, no, love it, no notes, and I see it like on tweets and stuff. It's
well, okay.
Anyway,
what's the longest you could raw dog a flight, Imran?
Oh man, let's see. What's the longest I can sustain psychopathic behavior? I don't know.
This is a thing. People did this though.
Yeah.
This is a thing before.
Why are people doing it? I don't understand the reasoning behind it.
Just how we used to fly. You had nothing. You had to just sit there and stare at the back of the seat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they had food.
No, no food, no water, nothing.
See, that's extreme. Nothing. No water either. Wow.
You just raw dog the entire. You just watch the flight map.
I could do it for a couple hours. I could see myself maybe 4.
It's a trend on TikTok. I don't even know if these people are actually doing it.
During this raw dog?
Yeah, can you take any?
Because that's what I do. I just knock myself out like Mr. T.
I don't think you can. I don't think you're supposed to take any substances.
Yeah, I'm like B.A. Baracus on any flight. That reference no one knows, but
A-Team. Come on, Mr. T. Yeah, and no sleeping.
No sleeping. Yeah, there's someone. Jeez. It's a TikTok trend. There's someone talking about how they just raw dogged their 7-hour flight.
Oh my God. This is what everyone's goals are these days. It's fantastic.
I do remember a time though, because I never could sleep well on planes as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't like reading on a plane because I would get nauseous.
Yeah.
I didn't want to eat much because I would get nauseous. So I remember as a kid, I would just fucking sit there and think.
Sit there. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you need to be left alone with your
No, but I
thoughts.
didn't like it. Don't tell me wrong. Don't justify it. Don't be like, no, sometimes you need to be left alone. I hated it, but that's all I could do.
But that's all you did. See, before that was just called life, kids. Now they're raw dogging. Anyways,
now it's like an event when you just have to do shit that you always had to do.
Silent walking. I've discovered walking without my iPhone or any iPod. It's called silent walking. It's amazing. You should fuck off. We're gonna raw dog our way.
What other colloquialism can we repurpose?
No, well, you'll think of something.
No, give me some time. I'll figure something out.
In the meantime, we're gonna raw dog our way through
2 hours.
this podcast.
You think can run?
I could do 4.
You could raw dog a flight. You could sit there as like a psychopath and watch the flight map for 4 hours.
Maybe 4 hours.
I could do 30 minutes. That's it.
Maybe my limit.
I think 30 limits is pushing it for me. I don't think I could get that far.
You just have to zen, find a happy place, and I don't know, leave your body and transcend. I wonder if it's transcendent.
That's what this guy was saying. One of the things is they said they got to a new place when they raw dog their flight.
Yeah, it's like a sensory deprivation tank almost. You just find yourself.
Not really. I tell you, I've been in a sensory deprivation tank. So have you.
So have I. Yes,
they're not the same. It is not the same as sitting on a flight in silence.
I'll raw dog that tank though. I raw dog the float. There's nothing else in there. You just kind of float in there with your thoughts. Anyways, this isn't a raw dog podcast. We're gonna raw dog our way through this podcast. We got a fun movie throwback review coming and some geek things to talk about. Let's start.
The Jock and Nerd podcast.
Well, Disney held their big event called D23, Big D23.
Whoa.
Over the weekend in the Anaheim, California. Kind of a second little Comic-Con presentation. This one a lot bigger just in terms of the size of the convention and the where they presented everything and more people.
What do you mean more people?
What does the 23 stand for again?
That's a good question. I used to know that.
23 Skidoo? Like what is
23 is when Disney was founded, 1923.
1923, yes.
What do you mean more people? What are you talking about?
I'm saying in the presentation, they used the Honda Center that holds like 25,000 people.
Gotcha.
So for the presentations, you had a larger audience. I was watching some tweets and streams. It seemed like a fun time. It's weird because in San Diego, they take your phones away, right? Or they tell you you can't. No, they just tell you can't shoot the footage. But apparently in this one, they didn't care. People were filming entire pieces of content and footage, and they've released some in trailers we could talk about. Some of them have leaked, and some had leaked and got pulled off. So all sorts of different variations.
It's a game.
Yeah. They've not released a lot of the things yet that they showed at San Diego and at D23, which is very interesting.
They're just playing footsie with you.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
They're building up the hype.
Thing. Yeah, that's why you get to go and that's why you see that stuff in person.
But initially it was weird because people were filming so much and just posting videos from their phones, and I was like, man, I guess they don't really fucking care. But come to find out that today, a lot of these things are getting pulled. A lot of these things I had links to talk about are getting pulled. So they covered a lot. We're just going to cover the stuff we're into, and then I'll briefly tell you a rundown of some of the other things they announced. We're going to start with your favorite thing, Anthony, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Love the Star Wars. We just had The Acolyte, should win many Emmys next year.
Best Star Wars. Really good stuff.
Best TV show. So they're following up The Acolyte with a show called The Skeleton Crew, or just Skeleton Crew, not the. I add the in front of everything. Very Midwest thing to do. Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law and, well, a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And they put out the first official trailer. This thing streams in December on Disney Plus. Ruggs, we missed you last week. I'm going to start with you. Did you get a look at this trailer?
Yeah.
What do you think about this show? And what do we see in the trailer? What kind of vibes are you
it's
getting?
about a bunch of kids who find a ship and then they find a Jedi.
Yes, Jude Law being the Jedi. We don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy.
And there he is in all of his glory. Disney and kids. Let me just say not Disney, Star Wars and kids.
Yeah.
Not so good. They evidently can outrun people that are much larger than them. And, all that fun stuff when kids, they could look like twins, but they're not. So they have they're not really doing kids too well, I think. you know, if they could capture some kind of gooniness.
Yeah, this is meant to be like an Amblin inspired, like Goonies meets Lost in Space, a little bit of like Stand By Me. The sense of it, if it has a sense of adventure for these kids.
They're not going to have any of these kids expose their big fat stomach and make them do the truffle shuffle. Like they're not going to have anything endearing like that, or
yeah, that's a good point.
Or mild racism with Data, or you know anything anything nostalgically fun that
that's all the good Goonies stuff.
Yeah, or yeah, they're not going to do any of that.
Booty traps. That's what I said. Booty traps.
Whatever, but like
yeah.
You know, let's see what happens. Like they're trying to capture this Stranger Things vibe. They're trying to capture the Goonies. They're trying to get little kids to be interested in this. You know, it might be some fun for the whole entire family.
Yeah, apparently, this is like Star Wars in the suburbs. Also, part of this trailer. It's very weird. It's just like suburban Star Wars. Anthony, do you think it's a good idea after the success of The Acolyte for them to follow up with like this fucking Sesame Street Star Wars show? Like, I don't think doing this kid show it's not gonna go well. The show could be great though, but I'm just like, okay, you gave us The Acolyte and now you're giving us this kid show. This is interesting. And Star Wars is for kids.
They did write The Acolyte as if you were 5, so this would be a good follow-up.
That is correct. It's a good. This is a little. They aged it up a little bit.
That.
You know, shit. You're hitting all the notes. It's their Goonies, Stranger Things, thing that they're doing. And on the other hands, I'd be like, smart move, and maybe it is if they want to get the kids. But after you already know what I'm going to say. That this has zero appeal to me. I mean, this could be this is the furthest thing that I'd want to ever watch. So I'm gonna sit back, relax, hear you guys talk about it, and if it's any good, maybe I'll catch it. But you will not catch me glued to that screen to watch the Skeleton Crew unless the people call and they say, "Hey, this is a horrible show, and you need to watch it to review it on Patreon." Then I'll do
You'll
it.
hate watch it, maybe.
I don't know if I can hate watch something directed for kids.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I would just be bored out of my mind at that point. I don't know what I don't know. I don't even know what. Are they kid Jedis? I don't know what this is.
They're just like suburban Star Wars kids who are bored.
They got roped into an adventure.
Yeah, and they found a temple that looks like it's a ship, and the ship takes off, and now they're stuck in space. They're lost in space.
I mean, there is, with the right people,
yes,
there is opportunity to do some fun and nostalgic like that. I just don't trust anything Star Wars does, and I never liked Star Wars anyway. So there you go.
There's a quandary here, and the reason why I think it won't work. It's like when you do a Goonies,
yeah,
you're doing about the kids of the time, or about the kids in their time,
right?
And like Stand By Me, for example,
yes,
like it's about kids in the 50s, and that's the charm of like the 50s, the kids and the camaraderie and the Boy Scouts and all that weird stuff that was going on in that time. It adds to it. We're going to look at what kids in the fucking suburbs of space that should have none of the same trappings of what we go through. And we know that either Disney's going to inject all that stuff into it and make it, or we're just not going to relate to it because it's space shit and they don't have the good enough writers to make that stuff believable.
That's a
like
good point.
Put us in their world.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to fail on both fronts, but that's just me being negative. But those are the challenges they have.
I mean, this is straight up Star Wars suburb with some of these shots.
Like if they make a show that's really reflective of our times in outer space, it's going to seem fake. It's going to seem like they're just pulling shit that's from our time to there.
Right. From
they have
now,
to do it right.
Right. And I think that's what it's going to have like a lot of modern stuff. But that's a good point because like when I was a kid, like shit like Voyagers, Flight of the Navigator, Neverending Story, Goonie, all these movies, they were so great because you had that sense of adventure that you could go out and go on a crazy thing on your bike with your kid, with your friends. If it could elicit that, like it looks like it's well made. It takes place in the Mandalorian timeline, so this is post Return of the Jedi, same time the Mandalorian's going on. But it could be really good. But yeah, I mean,
even Stranger Things pulled it off because it stuck to the 80s.
Right. There was a definite time period it was pulling from. The fact that it's going to be some non-time generic thing, I don't know. It's a very good point if they can pull it off. Now it all relies on the strength of these kid performers.
Do you think they could make a Gen Z Goonies? Like a Gen Z?
No, you'd have to change the whole movie. I don't think it would work. Be like, don't fat shame him. Stop making him do the truffle shuffle.
I need my medication.
I actually think that could be kind of funny.
It could be funny. And you got like Chunk and people are just...
Hey, ask for consent before you do anything.
Yeah,
Can we consent to go down this tunnel?
It'd be awesome if you had Chunk and they like he was just the coolest kid because they couldn't say any talk shit about him, but he could talk shit about everyone. That was perfect.
He was just fucking beating on everyone and talking shit about him. Like that scene where she kisses the brother, like he'd have to ask her permission first.
Yeah,
like,
it would be a parody of itself.
It would be kind of a parody. So, all right. Skeleton Crew, they showed at D23 coming out December. Then Diego Luna comes on stage to talk about Andor Season 2. Yes, it's still happening sometime next year. They showed some footage. Highlights being Ben Mendelsohn will be in it as Krennic from Rogue One. Forrest Whitaker is coming back as Saw Gerrera. And K2SO will be in it, his droid we saw in Rogue One, voiced by Alan Tudyk. And I think we talked about this when we reviewed the first season. The first season took place over a year. Season 2 will take place over 4 years, catching up to the events of Rogue One. Still one of the best things Star Wars has made, and we're going to have to wait. I don't even know. I guess we have to wait another year. And then their big showpiece for Star Wars was the fact that there will be a Star Wars movie on the big screen in 2026. The first movie since Rise of Skywalker, and it is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And they showed a sizzle reel, and I had a link for that. But that got taken down. Highlights of that: you see Zeb from Rebels. We saw him in Mandalorian, right, or Boba Fett live action. He'll be there. Mando and Grogu riding around, shooting at things. They're on. Maybe it looks like they're on Hoth and different planets, but. I don't know. I was
underwhelmed. I don't know about you.
Yeah, Star Wars needs a hit on the big screen where
it didn't feel big enough.
Can this Mando and Grogu movie seem big enough to justify a movie after watching it?
It could have, but they didn't do it. I think that what they should have done is time jumped a little bit, and you have a little bit more grown up Grogu. And they're just kicking ass, or they're just badasses. They're like bad boys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Buddy cop Mando Grogu movie, that could work.
That'd be great. But they're kind of just doing the show, but as a movie.
Yeah,
it's got Serenity vibes.
I mean, the only thing, and when I did watch the clip and it was up, it seemed like a bigger scale a little bit. You had like AT-ATs and more locations, but it also looked like the shit they shoot in the volume on the show. I don't know. Anthony, Mando, you like the Mando show. Would you be down to check out Mando and Grogu in a movie? And can they hold a movie? Can they lead a movie?
Well, season 3 wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't.
And I mean, I don't really like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So the format for the show versus a movie, I mean, it's not going to work, right? You can't do an adventure of the week type thing.
Right.
So they're going to have to reframe exactly how to do that and make it, into a movie. I'm probably going to watch it because you're going to make me watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it's big.
Other than that,
it's the next big Star Wars movie.
I'll watch it.
Grogu's still popular, and Daddy Pascal is pretty popular right now. So maybe there's still some tailwinds they can catch to make this thing draw some eyeballs.
Is Pedro a daddy?
Is he a daddy?
He's a zaddy.
He's the zaddy. Yeah, by May 2026, we'll have seen him in Fantastic Four. Last of Us 2 may have been out. He'll be back in everything again. So that could really work. And I think people really miss the Star Wars on the big screen. So, yeah, people are going to come out whether it's good or not. We'll see. We'll see what happens, listener. That's it for the Star Wars listener. If you want to join this conversation or just chat with other like-minded geeks, find your people in our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. There is a link in the episode description. It is an exclusive closed group just for you. If you like this shit, You're going to like everybody hanging out, chopping it up, geeking it out in the Facebook group. Join it today. Okay, let's move on to Marvel. And I thought at D23 they were just going to do TV stuff, but no, they did some movie stuff too. Captain America, they started Captain America Brave New World. Anthony Mackie comes out on stage. And I feel like they might have shown the same clip they showed you, Anthony.
Probably.
Because the one clip that's kind of out there is the shot of the Red Hulk rising from behind the podium, the presidential podium.
Yep,
and
I saw that.
Okay, and then the other things were like it confirms that the leader is really the big bad. He's talking about adamantium, and I think you mentioned he said that in the. I think they showed the same thing.
Yeah.
So this Red Hulk. How did the Red Hulk look? How does this look? It does look like Harrison Ford. I hope this shit looks good on the big screen in person. Because I don't know anymore. All I see is big red nipple everywhere. You see that nipple?
I love his nipples.
Look at the nipple.
Look at that texture. The nipple texture's on there.
What do you think about that Red Hulk right there?
It looks like a ripped Harrison Ford colored red.
Okay, well that's good.
I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, it could look in a still. It looks okay. It doesn't look terrible, but in action, I mean, I saw that clip where he's got. It looked a little bit doughy in the clip, so I don't know. This looks pretty good though.
Well, I did see the clip in person, and I'll tell you what. I mean, it does look. They're going for Harrison Ford. Now, is it a little bit uncanny valley to see Harrison Ford on a big red monster? A little bit, but we'll see how it plays out. I didn't think it looked horrible when I saw it live.
So you don't think that the Hulk should look like the people?
No, they.
I don't know that. I think they should. It's just when you cast someone like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
It's no longer the Red Hulk. It's Harrison Ford.
It's Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk.
It's the Indiana Hulk.
Right.
His face does work for that, though.
Yeah, his face is distinctly Harrison Ford.
It's like Hulk Solo.
Yeah, like I can
But
see
it's you can see the gray. I like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out. I wasn't when I saw it live. I wasn't like, oh shit.
I now
horrible.
name him Hulk Solo. We should now call him Hulk Solo from now on.
Hulk. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait. Put that trailer out, Marvel. They got a lot of these things. Just put them out. What are you waiting for? The next thing they talked about was Fantastic Four. First steps. They've just begun shooting, as we learned, San Diego. They flew in from London. They showed that same trailer they showed you in San Diego, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a video from the set with the cast, of course, being Pedro Pascal, Eben Moss-Baccarat, Vanessa Kirby, and Joseph Quinn. And I have a little screenshot of that cast video. You could see Joe Quinn. He's kind of has blonde hair, and he's wearing a very like retro 60s Fantastic Four outfit. I guess that's one of their astronaut outfits. What do you guys think of that? It's very vintage.
It looks like something that you'd see on like TV on the 80s.
A little bit. I mean, they're going for this retro future 60s.
He might just be wearing that just to be funny.
Yeah, maybe. Like, or is this one of the suits?
I mean, if it was, I wouldn't be mad. You know, if you're going with a retro 60s futuristic spacesuit.
It all depends on how they handle it.
Here's the big one that I was waiting for. The trailer I need them to release, and they have not. Daredevil Born Again. The whole cast.
Hit the spoiler because
spoiler alert.
Yes.
It's not officially released.
So this one did leak cell phone footage, and it's still up for us to watch and talk about. They had everybody on stage. Charlie Cox, John Bernthal, Eldon Henson, Deborah Ann Wool, and Vincent D'Onofrio. Anthony.
That's me.
What do we see in this one? What did you think? There's a couple of interesting shots, interesting reveals.
I only watched it really quick prior to us talking, and I didn't get to see much of the video audio. But it looks more in line with the Netflix stuff. I mean, we see Punisher, we're seeing some blood, we see the White Tiger.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. Is it looks like they're trying to go for that Netflix type tone. So So what did you see? Because you probably beat your meat to it. So what did you see?
Oh,
Hello. No,
raw dogged it.
I raw dogged this video. I was raw dogging the fucking Daredevil Born Again. No, I saw White Tiger. Here's what I saw. Kamala Khan's father. Geek boner. He's They're connecting it to the MCU. It's another MCU person. But you also see another villain I guess they're going to use is Muse, who is a more recent villain.
A band?
I'm like, it is a band. They're a really good band. I do like the Muse. There's some fucking crazy, great songs. But it's a Daredevil villain from like 2016. And what's weird is it has a similar costume to the White Tiger, like a whole white hood with black eyes and black shapes. They both have very similar looking costumes.
So it's not the White Tiger, it's the Muse?
No, they're both going to be in this season. It is the White Tiger because you see the tiger necklace and he like throws someone in front of a train or something. But Muse is the villain that Fisk and Daredevil have to team up together to take down.
Have you ever seen the bit where Chris Rock talks about tigers going crazy?
No. He's got a whole bit.
He has a whole bit where they were talking about, or he was talking about how animals attack people, and they go, "Oh my God, why did that tiger go crazy?" And he's like, "That tiger didn't go crazy. That tiger went tiger.
The tiger went tiger. The tiger
like,
just being a tiger."
If I was thinking about a tiger go crazy, I'd imagine a tiger on a unicycle juggling. I'm a crazy tiger. I'm a crazy tiger.
That tiger just went tiger.
That just prompted me to think about that. That tiger didn't go crazy. That tiger went tiger.
White Tiger.
So there you go. That's my
white villains and red Daredevils. There's also a shot where you see like 4 different cowls. So
I like that.
Yeah, he might be.
Cowls.
He might have like the black suit, the darker suit, and different color suits. I mean, again, remember crazy storyline for this whole show. That first they were shooting it and they said it wasn't connected to Netflix, and then they looked at it during the strike and they're like, no, we're going to redo all of this and we're bringing in Karen Page and Foggy from the show, and it is now in canon, and we're going to reshoot all this shit. That's fucking wild. When is it coming out? I don't know. But this trailer, the trailer got me pretty geeked.
Isn't it 2025 spring?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Probably. You're probably right. That's all right. We're going to wait till next year. My favorite part of this trailer is the back half of the trailer where it's just shots of Daredevil in the suit beating the shit out of people. Let's move on to the next thing that I know everybody's excited for. It is an actual full trailer, another trailer. Agatha. It's for Agatha. This is the second trailer.
We don't need to talk about this. We know what's coming out.
This one has a little more story. Okay, what do you think? There's a lot. So in the D23 presentation, the whole cast was there, and they were singing this witch tune. So you know how Star Wars loves kids? There's something about Disney with witches and singing. That also has to be in everything. Yeah,
they have witches always have to sing, I guess.
Yeah. We had some witches singing in Acolyte, and you got more witches singing in Agatha.
How do you think this is going to go over people?
Oh, I don't know. Look, I love Aubrey Plaza. Catherine Hahn is great. Sashir Zameda from Saturday Night Live, very funny. Some of this looks like Wicked. There's like a green witch from like the Wizard of Oz. I'm not sure what this show is, Anthony. What'd you make of this?
So when we first saw the trailer, the last one, it was they were kind of leaning into the the horror aspect of it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this looks different. You know, it's not what I expected. Then I saw this trailer and I went, this is exactly what I thought they were going to do. And it looks horrible. I mean, it looks like Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Disney,
very
TV. Like it looks more Disney. Like it looks like something that Disney made, not like, and I know what Disney made it, but what I'm trying to say is the feel does not feel like Marvel Comics anymore. It feels like a Disney ride. Like a show based off of an attraction at a theme park.
Yeah, no, I get that. Absolutely. And that's kind of crazy. And I think that's what was bugging me is I was looking for, you see Wanda Maximoff's name on a thing, and I'm looking for some kind of connection.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff that came out. I don't know if it was true that like the Kang storylines got leaked. And one of the things that got leaked was that Kang wrote the Darkhold, which was going to be revealed in this.
Oh,
So that's
shit.
all. That's all. Obviously, not happening.
Does that make sense though? That doesn't even make sense.
Well,
Is he magic?
he would have done like different things that he implanted throughout time.
That's magic. King don't do magic. Does he do magic?
I don't know.
He can do
Science
whatever
is
he
just
wants.
magic. Magic is just science you don't know.
That's true.
Right there, you go. He's
That
what is
is
he? Look at Thor over here from 2011.
That's right.
One person's magic is
No, I thought that trailer looked. I looked not my cup of tea. I looked
So,
like shit.
Well, since this is boring, let me bring up something else.
yeah.
Like no one cares about Agatha.
No.
We all know it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Chris Gore, Film Threat, he was trending for a while, saying because he said something about Marvel purging a lot of people that and that they have it under control now. That a lot of these people who are making bad decisions
Good.
and have been let go. And
Okay. See
so
ya.
so what do you think of that? Do you think that like we're still gonna get this stuff like Agatha for like another 2 years?
Well, that's the thing is that these things that are coming out were all greenlit during the old regime. So your your Captain America, your Thunderbolts, while new regime on the release, old regime when these were being made / greenlit. So I think we're still filtering through some of that. We still might be getting some shite.
I feel like on the TV side, when we get to Daredevil, that will be the end of these leftover lame duck projects.
Well, I disagree a little bit. I think that the shows that they extensively reshot, they were trying to correct course.
Yeah.
So like Daredevil, they reshot a lot of it.
Yes.
Captain America, they reshot a lot of it.
Did, yep.
Yeah.
So
this is where the changes are coming.
Maybe some of the changes, I don't know if it's going to be enough because when you're starting out with something and you're trying to remold it, it's going to end up looking like a sloppy mess, right?
It could be clunky, yes, trying to save something, but you've obviously put so much time into
what
something.
you're trying to do is you're trying to do one thing versus the other. So either you're going to get bad press for being too whatever, or you're going to have bad press for the movie not being as great as it could have been or kind of sloppy. So which is the worst press? Like, you know what I mean? So
also costly as fuck, but it seems like they're not afraid to spend the money to go back and fix things. So that gives me hope. But you're right. Both Captain America and Daredevil, both of these things were caught in the middle and were completely reshot. So Agatha is one of those projects. You're like, why are they making this? The next thing I'm going to talk about is the other project that we got to get through, Ironheart, which is still happening. Kevin Feige brought Ryan Coogler out, who is producing, to introduce the cast consisting of Dominique Thorne, Anthony Ramos, Lyric Ross, Regan Aaliyah, and Alden Ehrenreich is in this. And they did show a little sneak peek. And from the description, you find out that they show her flying around in her suit. And she gets expelled from MIT because she's not going to class and she's running out of money. So she has to go take a job with Anthony Ramos's character, who is the Mr. Hood. The Hood is a bad guy, and work for him to get tech. And possibly he's also Mephisto is another rumor. Yeah, this one also, I don't know. They started off showing clips from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever to kind of establish it. We're going to have to get through this too. Are you at least more excited or less for Ironheart than Agatha, or is it about the same? Or could you not care less?
I mean, I have a small interest in it, but overall, I know it's going to be a kind of it's going to be a miss. I know. I'm pretty sure.
Ironheart, I think has more potential than Agatha. I think there's something that could be there. I don't think this is, again, coming from when they were green lighting everything. And this show has been in the can, I think, for years now.
That's what I heard. Yeah, this show has been sitting there waiting for a long time.
Which is a weird place to be. And I don't know that shows any confidence in what they made. Yeah. But I think it definitely, I'd much rather watch someone fly around in a suit than
witches singing.
You know what? I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that.
I agree. They have an opportunity. Could they give us like RDJ as AI Iron Man in a suit to help
No,
her.
too
No?
expensive.
No. I mean, they're good. They're already giving him fucking $100 million.
No, they don't want any man. This is a women's show.
Yeah, but like the
Yeah,
Jarvis,
they don't want
there
a
was
guy.
a Jarvis
They
in
don't
a
want
suit.
a guy in there to like.
Well, also-
She's a girl. One.
Also, it wouldn't really make sense on a story level because
Yeah.
the whole thing is she made the suit in her room.
On her own. Yeah.
She never needed.
yeah, she needed a multi-billion-dollar suit in her room.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing. Hey, she's a genius. Went to MIT at like 15. Come on.
Okay.
I mean, this
Smart
was
kid.
all from the era where the kids were just smarter than the adults and could invent things out of nowhere, even though they were 14 years old.
But like they did that with Peter Parker in the original thing. Like,
Well, yeah,
you
that
know?
worked because he was the first one, but then they started doing that for everyone
everybody.
else.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
He just
Peter,
made webbing, though. It's
Dude,
not like he made a suit that cost billions of dollars.
but this teenager invents a substance that like 3M and huge corporations
But,
can't fucking
it's
make.
just
and he figures it
chemistry
out.
at that point,
It's
right?
chemistry and a little bit of engineering.
It's not like he needs to have
engineering.
servos and like multi-billion-dollar pieces of
No,
carbon fiber and
there's
like
mechanical
and
aspects.
vibranium. That's like hard.
I think there's a big difference between webbing to a full metal suit to
Yes.
Ant-Man's daughter figuring out how to go through time. Like there's I think while you want to defend that, Imran, there's a little
lot
bit
of
of a
that.
mental leap
There's a
between
lot of
one
that.
to the other to the other.
Yeah, there is a lot of that, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's a good point. All right, let's move it on. That was it for Friday for like the main Marvel thing. On Saturday, they had a little animation showcase. There is some bright spots coming up in the Marvel TV animation side. They had X-Men Season 2 sizzle reel showing that they will be wearing the black and yellow uniforms from the Grant Morrison's new X-Men run.
Cool.
You've seen those, the big puffy ones.
Yeah.
There's going to be new characters like Apocalypse, Bishop, Danger, Mariko, Polaris, Warlock will be in Season 2. What If Season 3 will be the show's last season? Oscar Isaac is going to reprise his role as Moon Knight. And Ironheart and White Vision are also going to be in the season. So that's fun. And it will be the last. So I think 3 seasons is fine for What If. I love that show. Eyes of Wakanda, they mentioned. It's a 4-part series delving into Wakanda's history. And it says here, an Iron Fist will appear. Oh, God. Is it fucking, what's his name? Is it Finn Jones? Is Finn Jones getting his job back?
In Eyes of Wakanda?
As voicing the Iron Fist in Eyes of Wakanda.
Oh, so that's animated.
It's animated. Oh,
It is animated.
Oh, who cares?
But, yeah. I mean, but they got some of the other guys. Like I said,
I highly doubt
Finn Jones
they
get a
bring
job
back Finn Jones. Or what,
I mean, what's Finn Jones up to?
You think when Finn Jones saw the news that the Russos and RDJ got their job back, he was like, hey, maybe my phone is going to ring next.
He was the worst.
Well, when Charlie Cox got the call, he was like,
Yes.
maybe.
Charlie Cox, and he's like, all right, I'm next. I'm
We
going
get
to
Luke Cage in there, though.
So again, going back to the webbing thing, there's a big difference between Charlie Cox's Daredevil and Finn Jones as Iron Fist.
I'm Danny Rand.
I'm Danny Rand, the invincible Iron Fist. Or the
Colleen,
whatever.
you don't get it. I'm the Iron Fist Colleen.
I'm the Iron Fist.
Boy. Boo.
And then him and his doughy body doing all the freaking kata or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they're not giving him enough time to train or to get
Ralph
in shape.
Macchio.
Yes. Ralph Macchio could kick the shit out of Iron Fist.
It would pretty be a close one.
Danny LaRusso now could kick the shit out of Iron Fist then. That's how bad it is. So Eyes of Wakanda, we're looking forward to that. This one I'm looking
Geek boner.
Maybe. They're fucking with it. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I've been looking forward to this animated Spider-Man
Of course you have Imran.
that deals with Peter in high school, MCU Peter. It was revealed that Norman Osborn will be played by Coleman Domingo from Fear the Walking Dead and a bunch of other things. He is, and I think this is where, remember he was going to be Kang. I think there were rumors he was going to be Kang. This was for this. So Coleman Domingo voicing Norman Osborn. This dude Hudson Thames is who played Spider-Man in the What If, will be playing Peter Parker. They showed footage, including Spidey's first meeting with Doctor Strange, a bunch of costumes. Here's the big twist, Bruggs. His origin The spider, which drops down and bites Peter Parker, drops from a portal while Doctor Strange and I think Venom are fighting, meaning his powers are magic-based, not science-based. So it's kind of like in Spider-Verse, across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Spider from another dimension bites this Peter.
You ever go...
Why do they do that?
Ever go to like an outdoor event, like a concert?
Yeah.
And they have porta potties?
Yes.
And like after like the event's been going on for like about 10 hours and it's really hot.
Yeah.
And you go into the porta potty and it's been used up.
Yeah.
And then you know that stench that comes out of the porta potty?
You can smell it now.
Yeah, that's what that idea is.
Oh, shit.
Flush this thing down.
It's
porta potty.
They don't need to do that. I don't know. Is it going to really add anything to it? It's just going to ruin it. It doesn't need. It's one of those things that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, it's very strange. Anthony, comment on all this Norman Osborn, Coleman Domingo origin twist.
I got nothing.
The art looks fun. It looks colorful. Some of the suits look fun.
Oh, that's the animation. It looks like Steve Ditko drawings.
A little bit, yes. That's kind of cool.
I like that.
I like the style. And then also Marvel Zombies. There's a 4-episode long Marvel Zombies. Shang-Chi is in it. Wen Wu's in it. Stuff happens. So there's all your animation stuff. Now, overall, I'm just going to run through a bunch of things. You guys comment if you want. If not, don't worry about it. Just to let people know the other things they announced from Pixar and Disney. Moana 2. The Rock was there. Anybody?
I like Moana.
I never saw the first movie.
Never saw it either.
It's all right.
Lin-Manuel Miranda songs. I mean, he's great. I heard the songs are great. And then Mufasa, live action Mufasa trailer.
No interest in that.
I did
watch
see
this.
that.
It's all right. What'd you think? Is this necessary?
It's weird. I never knew they would go with. I don't know if this is canon at all. I mean, I guess it is.
I don't know. Yeah.
I didn't know that Scar and Mufasa got adopted into Scar's family. That's an interesting twist.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean,
got a little bit of the feels watching it, when they're playing the music, but having Scar not be red, like I can't.
Yeah.
The animation is much better for that medium than
Is the Lion King like one of your favorites?
I loved Lion King as a kid. I loved Lion King. Yeah, that was awesome.
I could see it's a good movie, but it's not. It doesn't really.
I prefer Aladdin for the
Lion King got nominated for an Oscar, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
This picture.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Lion King was my favorite out of all the ones. The new Disney Renaissance. Lion King was my favorite.
Well, it's the only one that was kind of directed at little boys too.
Right. Yeah.
Like Aladdin had the male protagonist and also Lion King as well.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the princess ones. Right?
Yeah. Lion King. I liked Lion King because I liked animals. It was a very male driven. It was about this boy that becomes a king, and his father dies, and he gets the girl. He gets the love of his life, but it's about fucking lions, man. Like, as a kid, that's awesome. And hyenas and shit. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then it had good music. Fucking Elton John.
Yeah, the songs are great. The songs still hold up. So, I mean, I think both of these things will make a lot of money. Like The Lion King, you can milk that nostalgia. People will go see Mufasa. I know.
Well, people didn't really like the remake. I know it made a ton of money.
It made like $1 billion, I think.
It wasn't unnecessary. The movie, the animated movie, is good enough.
Yeah,
it was 1.6 billion.
It made 1.6 billion. Jesus. And then like the first Moana is like the most streamed thing on Disney, apparently, more than anything else. So people love that. The Rock also stayed around for this weird announcement. He's going to star in something called Monster Jam. It's a movie about monster truck drivers. So good for you, Dwayne.
Yeah, zero interest in that.
Yes. He's like, I can't. The superhero.
They made a monster truck movie like a few years ago, and no one even saw it, and nobody knows it exists.
Yeah, this one's not gonna be great.
It's gonna go the same way.
James Cameron comes out. Holy shit! I was like, Cameron.
Oh, shit.
He's got details on Avatar 3. It is called Avatar: Fire and Ash. He shows some concept art. It will be in theaters December 2025.
Are we still following around the same family?
I don't know. He said there's going to be new locations, new planets, and new flora and fauna, and maybe like lava people, probably. But I would imagine you're still following the Sullys around, right?
Okay.
You know? So and I read this other thing. He's like, I'm still working on a Terminator thing. Apparently, he still has something in the back he wants to do, which I don't know when that's going to happen. But I think he's just like watching to see how AI plays out, and then you can work that in a new Cameron Terminator thing. So
Wow.
that'll be fun. And then just the other things they announced: Toy Story 5. This will be the toys taking on iPads, essentially. Kind of clever, I guess.
Oh, nice.
Right? It's topical. There was a little art of the toys looking at this kid in the bed, and he's under the sheet, and he's got an iPad. So they're going to have to fight off fucking devices.
Toy Story's always been done well, and they always find a good way to make it a commentary on what's happening now.
Yeah.
Or relate it to, as a kid, the third one, you grow out of your toys and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I've always thought Toy Story was really cleverly done. So
They're all great. I actually love all.
They're all very good movies.
4 of the movies are solid. So yeah, this modern, updating it to fight devices, I think is fucking great idea. Incredibles 3, Zootopia 2, Frozen 3, all announced. A lot of sequels. Incredibles 3's, that's kind of fun. The first one's great. Second one's all right. I do love this family. And Zootopia is actually a really good movie. It's fucking hilarious. So I'm not that I'm going to run out and see it. And then they put out the Rachel Zegler Snow White teaser. Anthony, you watch this, right?
Yep.
This movie that comes in with a lot of controversy. And what I was looking for was like, let me see these dwarves. How are they making the dwarves? What do they end up with?
Oh, they're CGI dwarves.
They're
not doing
The CGI animals or CGI everything.
Yes, it's barely a live action movie.
Yeah, it's very fantastical.
What'd you think overall, though? She looks great as Snow White. Gal Gadot as the Wicked Witch looks fucking stunning.
Yeah, I mean, we know about all the a lot of people know about the controversy around it.
Weird.
So they released something that was kind of safe, in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting.
And I guess the main complaint would be, it just kind of looks too CGI-y, but they didn't do anything in that trailer that would piss off people, and I think that was the goal.
Yeah. They kept it as non-offensive as possible. Who knows what the movie holds, but the trailer looks fine.
They're walking that fine line, yes, and it's just called Snow White. Because isn't the full title Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? They left that part.
Yeah. Well, I guess dwarves is offensive.
Sure. And then the other thing, Tron Ares. I never watched the new Tron movie. Ruggs, have you seen it? Is it any good?
What?
Tron, what's it called?
Tron Legacy?
Legacy.
Yeah. I saw Tron Legacy in the theater.
Oh, you did?
It had some dodgy CGI, but I think it was not the worst movie.
So they're doing Tron Ares. Jeff Bridges returning.
Jesus Christ, Jeff Bridges is still coming back.
Yes, Jared Leto. Was Jared Leto in Legacy?
I don't remember.
Okay,
No.
he might be new in this. And Nine Inch Nails doing the music, which is fucking dope.
That was Daft Punk last time.
Yeah, now I like fucking Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails doing Tron music. I gotta see it. I did like the original Tron.
Tron Legacy wasn't horrible. It was just they had weird CGI to bring Jeff Bridges in there.
Yeah,
there's like Todd Bridges.
They brought him in. They brought him in as a younger version of himself.
They did like
the CG wasn't there yet,
yeah.
They shouldn't even have tried it. They should have done like more of a. If they were smarter, they would have changed the uncanny valley a little bit, so it would skewed more to like video game characters, and then it could work in the game because we're all used to what video game characters look like. But they had like human people, and then they had CG people like mixed in with the human people. It didn't gel.
Thing about Tron Legacy is it had actually really good music and there were some really cool visuals. I just found the story to be really boring. I also have no connection to the original Tron, so that probably didn't help.
Yeah, I could see that.
I gotta check it out.
The nostalgia from Tron is what gets you like a lot of mileage. So
that's essentially the D23 presentation.
I mean, you covered 35 properties. Jesus Christ.
There was a lot of things they talked about. It was flashier. There was a lot more music, performances. But if you had to, I just grade all these announcements overall. The stuff from San Diego Comic-Con, some of it's the same, some of it's new here. Overall, what kind of a feeling does this leave you for at least Marvel?
Are we grading all the announcements or Marvel?
Let's do it overall.
God.
I mean, look, here's why I bring this up, because the word like lackluster keeps coming up in my head when I'm thinking about these things. It's a lot of the stuff we know is coming out, and we know they're in this weird phase of trying to slow things down.
Marvel is got, the way I would grade Marvel is more of a mixed bag.
Okay.
It's got a couple of things that would, like Daredevil, which it's safe if they do it right. If they don't veer off the path, Daredevil's a lock. And some of the other stuff is like the Marvel Zombies and the What Ifs and the X-Men 97. Those are all pretty safe. They should be okay. They should be received well. Then you have some other stuff like Agatha and Ironheart. And, you know, we don't know how that's going to shake out. But so far they're trying to they're trying to pivot to being more safe and deliver. Disney, however, is already it's all sequels. It's all stuff we've seen before. There's nothing to gamble here other than Snow White because of the controversy. And this thing's been plagued with controversy because of Rachel Zegler, because of the dwarves, and, you know, all this other stuff. So that's the kind of a riskiest thing that they're doing, but everything else is pretty safe. So it's kind of like not really that exciting.
Yeah. Anything?
Yeah, I mean the Marvel stuff. I feel like the real. They gave you the main course at San Diego Comic-Con, so all this stuff inevitably is going to come out like afterthought. Overall, Disney. I mean, I'm not as invested as in Disney as other people. I could see why people would be excited about certain things. I personally was like, this is all, whatever. A lot of sequels, like you guys all said. So
a lot of numbers.
I would say there was nothing that they announced, in my opinion, that breaks the internet.
Yeah.
But I'm not in tune with the Pixar, Disney, even the Star Wars stuff. I could tell you the Star Wars stuff didn't break the internet, but everything else, some of these properties are really good. I'm not interested in a Incredibles 3 does nothing for me. I like Toy Story, but that doesn't mean I'm, excited about a fifth one. A lot of these are good. It's just, I've grown out of like being into the like animation stuff, although they are made for adults as well. I just don't, I don't hang on every word for what these things.
I think that Disney fans largely were excited about all the Incredibles 3, Zootopia 2, Frozen 3, Moana 2.
Sure.
And they're adding new park rides and things that like Indiana Jones rides.
Let's not go over the park rides. Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying, there's new rides. So it's a quite a crazy like presentation and thing they got to get through. But overall, like I'm not really excited about any of the Star Wars stuff aside from Andor, and that's like far away. And then Marvel. Yeah, I guess Captain America, Thunderbolts, Daredevil, Fantastic Four. I'm looking forward to all those. But it's just a very interesting time. Put these trailers out. Let's get going. Daredevil. I'm very excited for Daredevil. So, meanwhile, Deadpool Wolverine officially crosses $1 billion.
Oh, shit.
At the box office.
Wow.
So it has joined. It's just 3 weekends. It's sitting at $493 domestic. And 1.03 billion worldwide in just 3 weekends. Still open at number 1. It just beat out his wife's movie. Blake Lively has a new movie. It Ends With Us came out, made $50 million, and Daredevil Wolverine made another $54 million this week. Just beating it out. So they're both. That household's got to be very happy right now.
So that Borderlands movie made no money.
Oh my God. Borderlands made like $8 million and it's like 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. That's terrible.
All I heard is that movie got trashed.
Good thing we didn't review it this week.
Eli Roth's career is over.
It's Eli Roth. You got Kate Blanchett and like some crazy cast in there. And
I got to see it for myself to see how bad it is.
I heard it's so bad. It's not even like fun to watch. It's not even like good bad. It's just bad. So. Anyways.
Could it be worse than Madam Web?
People were saying this is the new Madam Web.
No.
Yes. So it may be worse than Madam Web.
Wow.
I think
worst video game movie ever is what Rolling Stone is saying.
That's wild. And
which is a pretty high high bar to, or low bar to clear, because there's a lot of terrible video game movies.
And it's still the worst.
Dead or alive.
It might even be worse than that one.
Oh, I love Dead or Alive.
All right, let's take a break here, fellas. We're going to play some promos. We're going to come back and talk about the beginning of a franchise, the beginning of the xenomorph alien, right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey there, everyone. Brian here, host of TV Trivia Pod. It's a trivia-style podcast focusing on TV and movies. Listen in for questions like, what's the name of Michael Scott's screenplay? What do you say to view the Marauders map? And what's everyone eating in the post-credit scene of Avengers? Play along to TV Trivia Pod anywhere you get podcasts. And stay tuned for more trivia.
Have you ever been reading through a stack of comics and thought, maybe I should see what this Arkham Asylum game is all about? Or been playing Marvel vs. Capcom and felt like you were at a real disadvantage since you didn't know who half the characters were? Well, Play Comics is the show for you. I'm Chris, and each episode we take a look at video games based on comic properties and how well they stick to that source material. So whether you know the comics and want to know how all these games work, or you know the games and want to find out where all this craziness came from, go check out Play Comics at playcomics.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you like this show, this is a great time to give back. Join our Patreon fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Jock and Nerd. And you can give back. Jock and Nerd. You can give back for all this bullshit. You support us on a monthly or annual basis, and you get stuff like access to an exclusive podcast feed where the weekly shows come out early. There's bonus content, instant reactions, bonus audio. You can join us on our monthly Discord hangout. Always a lot of fun. This month's hangout will be August 22nd. Thursday, August 22nd. Put it in your calendar. You can also pick any movie you want for us to watch and review. A lot of fun stuff when you support on Patreon over at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Click the link, visit, do it today. All right, let's get to this week's review. We are discussing a movie, and the movie, you saw it in the title, is Alien, the OG from 1979. Anthony.
Yes.
How did we end up on this movie?
Well, as Imran would like to say. Next week, we are, spoiler alert, not spoiler, teaser alert.
Yeah.
We are reviewing Alien Romulus since it's
Can't
coming
wait.
out.
Yes.
And figured might as well review the movie that started it all. And Alien Romulus takes place between the events of Alien and Aliens. So
yes,
it all kind of works out. And we've never talked about, we've obviously talked about Alien numerous times, but we've never done a full-on Jock and Nerd review, a brutal, honest review, or whatever Ruggs likes to call these things. So there you go.
Fantastic idea. Perfect timing. I'm just going to give you spoiler alerts for a 45-year-old movie. I don't know why.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
But yes, this movie released June 22nd, 1979. We had just passed its 45th year anniversary. So the timing is great. In fact, they re-released this in the theaters last month around the 22nd for the 45th anniversary. So you could have caught it in the theater last month. On Rotten Tomatoes, the original OG Alien sitting at 93% tomato meter, 94% audience score. The movie made for $11 million and finishes with a box office of $184 million. Does really well. Of course, this is directed by Ridley Scott and written by Dan O'Bannon, based on a story by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. Ridley Scott had done one movie at this point. He wasn't really into sci-fi, had no experience with visual effects. All right, going into this. The cast, also producing, there are some familiar names. Walter Hill was one of the producers. You know Walter Hill, right, Anthony? He's
The Warriors.
The Warriors. In Hours, he's a director, producer, writer. He did produce Aliens and Alien 3. He's done a lot of stuff. He's produced a lot of the Alien movies. So Started way back in 79 with the original one. The cast of this movie includes Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. This is Sigourney Weaver's first movie. She was only on Broadway, and she was the last to audition. So it's crazy. Tom Skerritt, young Tom Skerritt as Dallas. Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. Veronica Cartwright playing Lambert. You got Harry Dean Stanton as Brett. John Hurt as Kane. Ian Holm as Ash. Young Yaphet Kotto. I love Yaphet Kotto as Parker. And then this dude, Balaji Badejo, playing the actual alien in the costume. He's a very tall individual, not an actor. Again, they just found him at the pool. And they were like, you're really tall. Do you want to do this? And Helen Horton as the voice of Mother. Anthony, tell me a little bit about your history with this movie in particular.
Yeah, this was a movie where I was exposed to Alien in the arcade, and I think maybe a cartoon I might have seen. I remember playing the Alien game in the arcade and loving it, and then being like, I want to see the movie. I want to see the movies that were out.
That was a shooting arcade game, right? Where you had Uzis and you were. I played that. That game was great.
Moving from left to right.
Yes, that was fucking great.
It was an awesome game.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see the movies, and I don't know how old I was. I had to have been less than 10 years old, maybe around 10. And went to Blockbuster, the original Alien. I remember seeing the cover with the egg with the green underneath it.
Yes.
Watching that. Threw it on, and similar to my experience with other movies at the time, Predator, Halloween, Terminator, RoboCop, I was deeply disturbed by what I was watching on screen. And this was not the kids arcade game that I was expecting, and it was I vividly remember the chest burster scene and just being like hiding behind my mom, like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy. And then the rest of the movie just being like covering my eyes. You know, as I grew up, I saw Aliens and saw some of the other movies and really started to appreciate this movie for what it was. So Alien is like in my big four of sci-fi movies from the 80s that I've just grown to really love. Alien, Predator, Terminator, and RoboCop. Alien didn't start in the 80s, I understand that, but around that era. So I've always liked Alien. I remember being super hyped about Alien vs. Predator, and I've gotten hyped about Alien stuff as they've come out every time, even though continues to disappoint me.
Yes.
Alien just continues to disappoint.
Maybe that will change next week.
Hopefully. I did see the
Romulus.
panel. So yeah, always have liked Alien, and I think it's one of those movies that as you grow older and watch, you really, really appreciate. But scared the fuck out of me as a kid. So
sure, as it should. Ruggs, what's your history with this movie?
It's kind of a checkered. When did Aliens come out? When year did it? 86. So by the time it was on video, probably a year later or 6 months later, right? Because I think I saw Spaceballs first, and the chest burster scene in Spaceballs happened.
They parody it.
And
hilarious.
So I had seen that there, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Whatever. And then a friend of mine who was like a latchkey kid that was really into movies and like worked at a video store, I think. He's like, you gotta watch Aliens. It's James Cameron, the guy who did the Terminator. And I'm like, all right, we're doing it. So we rented it and we watched it, and I saw Aliens first. So I saw Aliens first, and I thought it was like an action movie thing. So I didn't really ever see the first Aliens till like maybe a year or two later. Yeah. And I think I was like 13 years old or something. Yeah. And I remember it was like really slow. Yeah. Like this, nothing's happening. What happened to all the James Cameron shit? Where's like, get away from her, you bitch? Where's all that stuff happening? So I was a little bit underwhelmed, but I've watched it a few times in my adult life, and I've always been, and then I watch it this time, I've always been blown away by this movie after that. It's like, I think that when you're a kid, you don't have the attention span and you don't have the appreciation for the art of filmmaking. And then you take into consideration the time when it was made and what was made before this. Yes. And it's just mind blowing that someone like Ridley Scott comes in, no experience, gets this team together, and they create this piece of art, and it's great. And so I came a little bit late to the party, but I really do love this movie.
No, I'm just the same as you, Ruggs. I saw Aliens first. In fact, I vividly remember having nightmares the night I saw Aliens about those. And as much as it was an action movie, it also scared the fuck out of me because there's some jump scares. I'd never seen creatures like these. But I'm glad you picked this, Anthony, because I am not as familiar with this one. I've watched it maybe once when I was a teenager. I've seen that chestburster scene several times, and I know all the lines, but I wasn't that familiar with this original one. So watching it again now was kind of like watching it the first time, and I was able to appreciate it more. So it was a great pick. And of course, this movie, like you said, launches 5 sequels, video games, novels, toys, and you got to love the 80s when R-rated movies turn into like cartoon shows that turn into kids' toys. They did it with everything. It's a fucking great thing. It should still be doing that.
One of the great things about watching movies again is not only that you're watching them and sometimes you'd watch them on TV and they were edited. Like sometimes you don't watch it on cable.
Right.
I didn't have cable throughout I had it in patches.
Yeah.
So there was times that movies would be on and you'd watch it and it'd be heavily edited. And not only that, when you watch them now, you can watch them with the subtitles.
Yeah.
So you can like not miss any lines.
Yeah.
You know exactly what he's saying with the, not only that, it helps you keep track of the characters' names because they usually tell you who's saying what.
Yep. When they're off
so
screen.
It just gives you a more well-rounded, you could hear, sometimes there's stuff coming in on the radio that you don't hear or stuff that's on the TV that's in the background. And that's all like storytelling elements.
Yeah.
So it gives you much of a richer experience when you watch a movie another time. So I always like going back to the older movies and watching them again with the subtitles on as well.
Anthony, what is Alien about?
Alien is about the trucker ship, the Nostromo.
The Nostromo.
They're carrying ore. It's basically a bunch of truckers on a spaceship. They're just getting their work done. They are bringing back some ore to Earth, and they get woken up from their sleep from a distress call. And the distress call, they go to visit the distress call, and they encounter an alien that gets on the ship, and terror ensues. And that's it.
Very straightforward, right? Almost a little
pretty
bit
straightforward, but there are some twists throughout the plot that keep you engaged, and it's not just a through line.
Can I just say, holy shit, does this movie hold up 45 years later? Wow. It holds up really well. Anthony, what'd you think after rewatching it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely, it all holds up. I mean, the only thing that, might be a criticism is, the alien doesn't move the smoothest at some point in some instances, but they really does a really good job of hiding the alien and doing the whole Jaws thing where you don't see the monster very much and makes the monster even more scary.
It's terrifying.
But yeah, I mean, it holds up it pretty much all holds up. The alien design is by H.R. Geiger and is an iconic design and everything about it. I mean, the plot, the story, the acting, all that stuff holds up. I mean, you maybe you don't get like the craziest kills in the world, but I think the biggest thing that, besides just the contribution of the alien to the world and Sigourney Weaver being a thing is just the amount of tension in the plot. Once the thing really gets cranked up, it takes its time, which is kind of refreshing. But once the movie gets really cranked up, when the alien latches onto the dude's face and then chest bursts out, I mean, it's just chock full of tension throughout the entire movie. So yeah, I loved it. I loved it then. I loved it now. I think, just as an aside, I think one of the fun things about watching this movie now is I know that Ash, played by Ian Holm, turns.
Yes.
But, at the time, no one knew that. And watching it now, knowing what he does later, you can see all the little things and how the little like strange shit he's doing and how it's like, because he's got a different mission. So I think that's really fun too.
Yeah, if you notice, he like grabs milk. He doesn't really eat. He's always
stopping them and breaking them from
doing things. Yes, he's the one who lets them in.
Right.
He tells her that when she's like, "How are you doing on that translation?" He's like, "Oh, mother's collating."
Right.
Still cold. He's stalling for time. It's fantastic. And little glimpses when you watch it back that he does.
One other thing too, before we move on to like you guys, is we've all associated Sigourney Weaver Ripley as the lead, but when you watch this movie, I noticed, and this is something that's known, but you don't really know who the lead is until probably more than halfway through the movie, because they don't do the normal thing where it's like the lead they're spending time with, and you're going, right. Oh yeah, this is the lead. This movie, no one's really the lead. It's just kind of you're hanging out with all of them, and you don't really understand that it's Ripley until Dallas dies. Yeah. But like little things before that, like she's the one that's like, nope, we're not breaking protocol. You're not getting on. I don't care. Like she slowly evolves into like this leader, and it's cool watching this character who we know becomes what she is in Aliens and other stuff. But you're seeing like that the beginning of that character, but it's not obvious from the beginning that she's going.
Yeah, they're not presenting her as some kind of like know-it-all everything. No, she has to rise. No. Like she does have good instincts. Right. She knows what the right thing to do is, and she's not aware of the machinations of Mother and this android and all of these other directives that they have. Mm-hmm. And so she's just trying to do the right thing. And obviously there's a bunch of other layers with other players there's the different class system going on. Mm-hmm. They get paid less than the other ones. And they're just, deliberately, fucking with that shit. And then who gets to go out, who gets to stay. And there's all that, like they were talking about drawing straws at one point. And so there's all of that going on. But Sigourney Weaver's character has always been she's been right the whole time.
Yeah, she was right from the beginning. All you had to do is listen to her. They never do, and they get fucked.
Well, she's also calling out earlier on, too, that she's like, because Ash is a new scientist. I don't know if you caught that, where they had a scientist, he was replaced last minute with Ash, and she's like, I just don't trust this guy.
Yeah.
So she's catching on that there's something up, but obviously no one knows that he's fucking drinking milk and spitting it out his asshole. Like
it's covered in jizz by the end of this whole thing.
Right.
But I love the fact that they're blue collar workers. I think Roger Ebert, even in his review, commented like how different it was to have such older people in this as a lead in the cast. Sigourney was like 28 at the time. She was the youngest. But
also think about like the history of that time, like how space was presented on the big screen up to that point was always very clean. Yes. Star Wars, Planet of the Apes, Star Trek. It was all very sterile. It was all, these like clean cut people. And now you're just like, no, we're throwing fucking, we're going to have dudes like Rugboy mentioned that are arguing about like if they're going to get their bonus or not on this fucking flight.
I love that moment when they're trying to fix the planet. And she's like, how long is it going to take? And he goes, 17 hours, tell her. He goes, it's going to be at least 25 hours. Yeah, Ficono. That's typical union workers just padding it out. We need the overtime. But yeah, it's gritty, it's grimy, it's dirty. Even the way they talk, it seems very like natural. Like there's a lot of they're talking over each other. They're just hanging out. The whole aesthetic. I was trying to like imagine seeing this in '79 for the first time.
Well, this comes off the heel of Stanley Kubrick's Space Odyssey, right?
No, Star Wars came out 2 years earlier. 2001 came out like late 60s, so it'd been a while, but you see all of that influence in here.
Well, I think that Ridley Scott was very influenced by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, there's a lot of Kubrick shots in this movie.
And just the aesthetic that Kubrick had, that it just felt real. Yeah. And it felt like the design. If we're going to talk about the art direction, the art direction is a miracle in this movie.
Yes.
And one of the things you can tell is that Ridley Scott, I don't know if he did this on purpose, but everything has there's when they get to the alien planet, they're pumping the air full of fog and mist too, like wet mist. And that's glistening off everything. Yeah. And that's making it everything seems so wet and alive. And there's like a funk and a fog that they're always in.
Smelling.
And there's just so much detail, but they're in the dark, right? So the lighting is not the greatest. The lighting is actually, they're fighting with film grain the whole time.
Yes.
But all these little details are popping out because everything's wet.
Yeah. No, it's
amazing.
I love the texture of the grain. I love the lighting and the 70s aesthetic, but again, it seems timeless also. It really still holds up. It all feels real.
It looks more real. It feels more real. It feels not that it's realistic, but it feels real.
Right.
It just feels like it has its own reality, and we can believe that reality.
It builds the world away.
If we're going on the design element, I'll piggyback on that with, you guys mentioned how real it looks and how gritty it looks, but there's also an uncomfortableness to it because H.R. Geiger is a fucking perverted motherfucker.
Let's talk about Geiger. I love Geiger.
You have the alien whose head looks like a fucking penis.
Yes.
You have the eggs that look like vagina, like a birth canal. You have the face hugger, which rapes your face.
Yes,
and then impregnates you, and then a violent there's all these different elements that are phallic or rapey. And I'm saying that it's not saying that to joke around. That's what they're going for. Or these violation of things that are happening, like Lambert's death. You can see the tail going up between her legs, heavily implying that it fucking rapes her. Yeah. There's all this uncomfortableness. So when the alien, when you see all this shit, you're like, oh my god, this not only is it's uncomfortable and it's scary because it violates the whole being of the alien, violates everything that as a human you want to be around. Yeah, it's just this. It's creates this whole. By using that design, it creates this whole vibe of fuck, this is creepy as shit. This is the worst.
And I don't think that we had seen anything on screen that was biomechanical.
Yes,
no.
that the way it looks.
No, it's
grown.
It's organic, but not. It's synthetic. It's robotic. It's got seams, and it just looks like it's not quite organic, but it's almost it could look like a machine. It looks like a robot a little bit. It's really crazy looking.
I mean, you got the they're throwing. I mean, the alien mouth. It's all KY jelly. That's what they were using. And
a lot of KY jelly.
When Dallas is in the fucking ducks, and he grabs the jelly, it's like cum on the ground, right? It's like semen. It's all this stuff that you're like, oh fuck, that's gross.
That's Geiger's sick fucking mind, right? And it's all in his artwork. Now, here's a couple of movies that helped this movie get made. First of all, it was Star Wars. Once Star Wars got big, the studio was looking for a space movie, and they had this script sitting on their desk. So they jumped on it. And Geiger, we can thank Jodorowsky's Dune, the movie I've talked about, the greatest sci-fi movie that never got made, that had concept designs and storyboards floating around Hollywood for years. The writer, Bannon, was working on Jodorowsky's Dune. That's where he meets H.R. Geiger. And that's where they connect.
Him and Mobius were doing all the art.
Mobius and Geiger were doing the art. And I don't know if Mobius did any design. I think Mobius designed some of the spacesuits and shit.
I think that Geiger was the Harkonnen designer.
Oh, that's right. They had him design all the Harkonnen stuff. And some of that stuff is used later. But it's so great. Jodorowsky's Dune connects these two, and we get this fucking crazy alien that is never before seen on film. And there's commentary on rape, on motherhood, on pregnancy, but it's all in his deviant little mind, and it's fucking. And the fact that you don't really see this thing a lot makes it so terrifying and so fucking perfect.
So I think it'd be good to go through some of the more iconic alien stuff. And I think the first thing to start with, obviously there's the eggs and all that shit.
Oh, before that, yes.
Well, where are you going with it? Are you going with the fucking space jockey?
Yes, the space.
Yeah, so they have to respond to this signal in space. Right. They take the lander, they land on the planet, and they go in and they follow the signal to this crashed derelict spacecraft.
Yeah.
Right? And they go inside, and that's when you get to see all of the H.R. Geiger stuff really come alive. The inside of the ship, it's wet. It's got all these bones. They used actual bones.
He used actual bones. Geiger airbrushed that whole set and the space jockey by hand, by himself.
Well, what's also cool though is there's a little line there, and this builds on Ripley, because we all thought it was a distress call, and then she decodes it, and she's like, no, this was a warning. So this was a warning. This wasn't a distress, or this wasn't a call for help. It was a warning.
Remember, she's like, I'm going to go warn them. And he's like, don't bother. By the time you get there, it's going to be too late.
Yeah,
he's delaying the translation. He's constantly stopping her from them doing what they need to do. The scale of these sets are amazing. Ridley did this little trick a couple times in the movie. So the space jockey scene, you can kind of notice it. He didn't think it was big enough, and they didn't have any more money to make it bigger, the set. So he put his kids and the cinematographer's kids in the astronaut suits. And those are his kids walking around to make the thing look even bigger. But apparently those suits didn't have good ventilation, and everybody kept passing out in the fucking suits.
Oh my God.
Until they put some breathing apparatuses in there. But those are his kids walking around. But the effect of this makes it seem fucking huge. And is this the engineer from the later movies?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
We learned that in the other Covenant and the other things.
So crazy. This whole set's amazing. Then you get to the scene where Kane finds the eggs. And this is another great scene. And he's like, there seems to be a barrier. There's like a mist on top of it. I found out they use lasers they borrowed from the Who, the band who was rehearsing next door to create those lasers.
What a brilliant idea.
Yeah, because it was perfect. Like seeing him stick his hand
like an
in
ocean.
Yes, because you could see the mist float around and it kind of makes a little surface.
And I think what they're getting at there is when he cuts through that blue mist, it's like cutting through the placenta. And it's like now you've activated the eggs.
Yeah,
the eggs are dormant. Yeah.
Oh, also, that's Ridley Scott's hand in the shot where they're looking at the side of the egg and you kind of see movement inside. And Ridley was like, yeah, I just had my hands in there and I was doing butterfly hands. So then the thing opens up and you get kind of the first jump scare.
Right.
Is the face hugger attaching to the face. And then they come back and Ripley's like, 24 hours protocol. And Ash just fucking lets him in. Right away, that should have been a red flag.
Well, Ash lets him in, but Dallas is insistent, like, I'm the captain, let him in. But she's all like, well, no, you're not the captain anymore because you're off the ship, so I'm the next one in charge.
Should have listened to Ripley.
Right.
Then the scene...
I mean, that makes perfect sense. The guy just got attacked by an alien being. Why let him in the ship?
Don't let him in. Yes. The fuck are you doing? Do not let him in. But they do, and they cut the helmet off, and it's the fucking look of this face hugger. Like, these creatures look amazing.
Yeah.
It's so creepy with the finger design and the tail around the neck. And
it's fucking gross.
The brilliant part of the blood being acid just throws so many wrenches into your plans when you're trying to fight this thing. Like, you can't kill it. You can't stab it. You got to be careful. And it's just practical thing, and it's amazing. What's the, before we go to the next scene, I have to ask this one question.
Yeah.
Who brought the fucking cat? Why is there a cat in fucking space? You know how much money they must have spent on this mission? They were allocated a whole, they have its own cryo tube where they're like, no, bring your pets. It's fine. This only costs billions of dollars.
Yeah. The cat was a horrible idea. Whoever brought that on,
I feel like the cat was working for the alien. It fucking lures Brett over there. And then it's like watching him get killed with glee.
Yeah. You team up.
Fucking cat.
You can't trust a cat.
There's always, and like in Aliens, there's Newt. There's always like a little hopeless creature.
There's a difference between Newt and the cat.
Yeah, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
A pet. It's a pet. She was feral.
Newt was a pet.
She was feral. She was like a feral.
No, I think moving on, I think we go on to the most iconic scene in one of the most iconic scenes in all in cinema. So, Kane, the alien eventually falls off and Kane seems to be fine.
Yeah.
And he's having dinner with everybody, and they're basically like, we're gonna have dinner and we're gonna go back to sleep. Like,
go back in the freezerinos. Yeah. Back into the freezerinos.
And he's complaining about he starts saying that the food sucks or whatever, and then he starts coughing, and Yaphet Kotto is basically like, oh, is the food that bad? Like making a joke, and you just get this scene which just gripped audiences back in the 70s and still grips audiences, where just Kane starts just violently convulsing and people think he's having a fucking
seizure or something.
Seizure, right? They're trying to stick a
spoon
in his mouth, and you have that chest bursting scene, and I'm sure Imran was going to say this, but I'll take it from him. When they filmed that, they didn't tell the cast that the blood would squirt up like that.
That's correct.
So what you're getting is a real reaction, especially from the actress playing Lambert, because she didn't expect blood to get thrown on her face.
She's like, what happened? Yes,
right.
She's screaming. And
you just get that scene of the craziness of the fucking chest burster coming out, which as a kid, that was a scene where I was like, oh my God, this movie is not what I thought it was going to be.
I can't imagine like going back and watching that for the first time.
It just got real.
You had no idea what's coming. You
No.
know, you've seen some.
Well, he reacts so violently. Kane, what's that character's name? Not
John-
Kane, but John. No, what's the actor's name?
John Hurt.
John Hurt. I mean, the way he reacts. I mean, you can. It feels like it hurts. I mean, it's just the way his body is moving. It's like, oh my God, this
Screaming,
hurts.
it's panic. You're fucking terrified, and apparently it smelled really bad too. So that added on set. But those reactions are amazing, and they're 100%.
Why did it smell bad?
Because they
were using like animal parts.
Yes,
as it was bursting out of the check to simulate the intestines and stuff.
Yes, they use lots of animal meat. Like when you see them dissecting the face hugger, that's a sheep kidney and shellfish and oysters. And then it was like tripe. They used tripe and other things. So they had actual, and it smelled. And then even the bones. There's a whole documentary, by the way, on Freevee called Memory, The Origin of Alien. And I was just reading so much about this. Like they got fresh bones for Geiger to use. He thought they were going to get old dried out bones, but all these bones still had marrow and shit. And that whole set smelled
stunk of dead animal
of rot and shit. Cause they bought fresh bones and they had all this fresh meat for these scenes, but you can't beat this practical tactile nature of these things. Like it just looks great. And the sound, the squishing sound and the wetness and the moistness is fucking wild. So, people are losing their shit. The moistness.
Jesus.
It's a very moist movie.
It's a very moist movie. There's always shit dripping.
Yeah.
Like what I didn't understand when Brett follows Jones the cat and he gets killed. First of all, there's a crazy shot where he's just like standing up with the water dripping on him for a long time. And I'm like looking in the background. I'm like, is there something there? But they lead you on. They think something's there. And that's not even when the shit goes down. But I was like, where's this water? Are they in a spaceship? Where's the water coming from? That was confusing.
Yeah, Brett's death is, when you really understand, oh God, that alien's already morphed into something
huge.
Yeah,
huge,
he finds the molted shell on the ground.
That's the hint where you see the shell. And in the director's cut, that scene is a little bit more extended. Where the first cut of the alien you see is actually when they pan, they show a shot of where the water's dripping and you just see the alien hanging.
It's just there, but you can't tell, right?
No, you can tell. It's just like, but it's just like very disturbing because it's just standing, it's just hanging. But here they cut that out and you just see the alien drop, and it's just like, oh.
I mean, the classic tail drop down. Like, how many times have people done that now? There's so many things in here that you see so many times. And I think these guys did it first. I mean, I think a lot of this, you didn't see this shit.
Well, that's also where you then understand the like double tongue piercing thing, which also makes the alien just another, like, it's like an evil French kiss.
Well, the mouth in the mouth.
Right. And just fucking pierce. Like that whole scene is just.
What does that do exactly?
It punctures.
It just like rips out your throat or rips out your heart or just kills you.
Oh,
well,
so
no, it punctures. It like literally comes out like a piston with teeth.
No, but what is it? Where does it usually go? Is he trying to go into the throat, into the face, into the
I don't
heart?
think it. I don't know where.
Does it matter?
Yeah, I don't know if it matters. I can't. You can't really. I think he hits his head and then, or maybe his body, but then it pulls him up. So then he like disappears, and then the next scene you cut to is just Yaphet Kotto's character just being like, it's big.
It's like a man. He's like a man.
I just how did they get from so small to so big without eating anything?
Don't think about that.
It's a fucking alien, bro. It's an alien physiology.
I found that to be an issue, but like, yeah, I can hand wave that away.
Ash says things like, "Oh, it's already adapted to our atmosphere. It's the perfect organism," as he says. That's why. That explains everything. You don't have to ask any questions.
I think the alien. So it take from what we've seen in this movie and then later is that it adapts to the host of who it comes out to, and it becomes similar to that host. So like, you can see if you look at the old sets of this and you look at the old alien, the underneath that dome is actually a human skull.
Oh,
so it's a
you can see through it there's a human skull.
Right. But yeah, I don't know how it. I mean, basic biology would say it can't grow, like it needs to ingest something to grow that big, but it's an alien, so whatever.
It's an alien with acid for blood. It doesn't. Oh yeah, this whole back half is amazing, where everyone's getting picked off.
My favorite scene, by favorite I mean my scariest is when Dallas is in the ducts.
Yeah, so they figure out this alien's traveling through the air ducts, and Dallas goes in there with a blowtorch, and Ash is like, I don't know, things hate fire. Now he's actually trying to help, which is kind of interesting when he's supposed to bring this thing home. And he is just what's his name? Tom Skerritt is literally just lit with that light he's holding and the flamethrower. Like, it's so dark and spooky. And you get the invention of the motion tracking device, which is goes on in the second movie. Has a couple of but this is the first version of this thing. Changes in micro air density.
What happens is he's trying to flush this alien out, and then that device. They spot the alien, but then the device goes haywire for a second, so he doesn't know where the alien is. And by the time it turns on, the alien's beelining towards him, but we don't know where he's at because he's in like multiple levels of this fucking.
Yeah, these ducks are going everywhere.
And I think what makes it, you got he's in the dark. He's only got the fire. He's by himself. We've seen what the alien can do, right? But then you've got the beeping, so it's like. But then I think the thing that really puts it over the top is Lambert's character.
Lambert's, he's like, you gotta get out of there.
Yeah, you gotta go.
It's coming right at you.
She makes that so fucking scary.
Yes. It's almost the equivalent to, what are we gonna do now, man? Game over, man. Sort of, not as over the top.
No.
But it has that same kind of tone. But yeah,
that's a line that people say as like a joke. They don't say. No one quotes her as
nobody
like.
Quotes no, I know. But she's like, get out of there. Dallas is coming right for you. And then he just fucking, the thing just pops out of nowhere. Is that where he extends his hands? Which kill is that?
That's the one where the alien, he turns over and the alien, he lands and it's in the dark behind him. And then he points the fire at him and it goes, and like the screen just goes black.
You're like, oh shit.
Oh, fuck.
Great jump scare.
That's still the music when the alien like spreads its hands out as you see it. Because you can kind of see it. If you know you're looking for it, you can kind of see it in the dark behind him, but then when he turns over and it's there, it's like, oh fuck! And then I still, even watching it this time, I was like, oh shit!
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
fuck.
It's great. And then Yaphet Kotto just has the flamethrower. He's like, we found this. That's all that's left.
That's all that's left.
So then Ripley. This is when Ripley discovers. She goes to Mother. The computer discovers that Ash was ordered to return with this alien, and the crew is expendable, and that was the number one priority. And then everybody he freaks out, tries to kill her, and we find out
that's another thing too, is he tries to kill her, but it's in like such a fucking disturbing way, right?
Yeah.
Like he rolls up a piece of a magazine and sticks it down her throat.
Yeah, he's gonna just suffocate her, shove it down. I was like, what are you doing? What are you even doing?
Yeah, that was such an odd way to kill her.
That's gonna take forever. Like, you're a robot.
It's like, I can breathe out of it. It's got a hole.
Yeah, she's just it's like a tube.
But it's just so it's just another, again, it's like the way this movie's very creepy. Like he does something like it's a creepy way to try to kill somebody.
And I can't imagine, again, the audience first time seeing this, throw in this fucking wrinkle that this dude is a fucking robot the whole time. Out of like, what a crazy fucking plot twist.
Apparently people were throwing up not only during when the alien chest burster comes out, but when Yaphet Kotto hits his head and his head comes off, and people are like, "Oh fuck!" Like people did not expect that to happen.
There's a lot
that was pretty brutal, but like it's also followed by one of the worst shots because not that the shot is bad; it's that they should have cut away.
Yes.
Like, because when they put his head, they struggle to put his head back on the table.
Yes.
And then they just directly cut to him being a human.
Yes.
They needed to cut to something else and then cut back to that, so it wouldn't be such a
it's the one thing
awkward transition. So that was like probably one of the worst shots.
The one thing that doesn't hold up is that, and I read the reason was when they made that cast, like it shrunk. They didn't think it was going to shrink, and they were going to use that for the talking scene, but then. Yeah, well, I don't know why they didn't cut away and cut back. It's a smash cut from the.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's just an editing thing. That would have been helped so much in editing if they just had a face reaction of everybody looking at him.
Oh, and then they come back and it's Ian Holmes' head coming out of the table. Like you wouldn't. It's very weird that they left that in that way.
I think that scene though, again, watching that as a kid for the first time, like it just adds to the creepy vibes. You're like,
oh yeah,
wait a minute, there's a fucking android spitting up metal. Like, what is going on in this movie? Like imagine seeing that for the first time. You would have never expected
Yes,
This guy's a fucking android, and he's
that's
got
the thing.
semen running through his veins.
He's just covered in jizz by the end. He's sweating milk for some reason, and you're like, "What the fuck's
Oh, yeah,
going on?"
that's the first hint where you're like, he's sweating
like,
milk.
Why are you sweating milk? But again, I love what they do, what Cameron does with it in the second movie with Bishop. You know, now they've established that there's always an android on these missions or whatever. But at the time, I can't imagine, like, it was fucking crazy. And there was a lot of food in that set, too. It was like onions and all these different tubes and mayonnaise and shit. So, yes, they reactivate his head and he kind of admires the alien. He tells them, you can't kill it.
It's the perfect organism.
It's the perfect organism. So they're like, all right, we're going to blow up the ship. We're going to get out on the shuttle. They couldn't get out before because there was 4 of them. The shuttle doesn't hold 4. Now there's only 3 of them. And then Parker and Lambert, while gathering supplies, get killed because they're making a shit ton of noise, throwing those canisters around. I was like, what are you guys doing? You're causing a lot of commotion.
Where when Parker gets like killed, and then you hear Lambert scream over the internet. I was like, that's fucking disturbing too.
Yes, because she's running, and you can't. Again, the stuff that he leaves to your mind,
right?
He doesn't show. Your mind easily fills that in, and it makes it so much more terrifying.
Have you ever seen the extended deleted scene of that kill?
No.
So in the extended scene, you see the alien like show up, and I'm glad they didn't do this, but the alien shows up, but he's like crouched. And they didn't really know like how they wanted the alien to move, so he crab walks towards her.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, and then he like that's why like when he slowly creeps up, it's because he had crab walked toward her.
Oh, and then
it doesn't look great when he crab walks toward her, but it's good that they cut it there, and then he like rises up.
Like you see the full body guy like once briefly maybe, and it looks pretty good.
The only thing is, I think that scene could have been better, like some better kills.
Yeah,
but I don't think they were fully comfortable with how to show the alien, so they were like, we got to leave it a little bit ambiguous. Because the 2 kills before that the tension in those scenes is pretty good,
and then
this one he just knocks out both of them in the same scene. Like he knocks out Parker, and like why is Lambert just still standing there while he's like killing Parker?
I can't get around.
Right,
frozen in fear. I was like,
NPC mode.
Just fucking run. So now Ripley is the only one left, and she starts the self-destruct sequence, and she's got the fucking cat. You got to save the cat. She can't get back to the shuttle, so she runs back, has to try to turn it off. It's too late.
Well, she can't get back because the alien's blocked.
The alien's in the way. But so this whole starting the self-destruct, running into the alien, turning back, trying to turn it off. She's too late, and then she has to come back, and the alien's just gone. What do we think of this whole sequence? Like, was it really necessary? It seemed like they were just filling time here a little bit.
I feel like they had to create some kind of a running clock.
Yeah.
Urgency.
That's true. She had 10 minutes.
You know, the things that happen in this movie sometimes are dumb. Like the door to the ship is open and you don't think that the alien's going to go in there.
Yeah. I'm like, you're not going to, but it also makes it so she has no time to check the shuttle. She's got 20 seconds to get in, strap in.
That's a good call out.
So maybe that's why. So
it is a little odd that they do 2 running clocks in the row.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen 2 running clocks like ever really in most movies. So it's like, it's kind of, they play it twice, which seems kind of lazy, but then it's unique because I've never seen it played twice. To this day, I don't see very many movies where they do a running clock twice in like 5 minutes.
It's a clock within a clock. Right. Yeah.
But they did telegraph it, right? They're like, they shut, even when you can read it when she was setting it up, that they have 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, you have to shut it off.
Yeah, you can't
restart it or whatever.
Right. You can't abort it. You have 5 minutes to still abort. So she gets away in the shuttle, and the thing explodes like 3 times. It's just kind of strange. It's like 3 explosions. She's sitting there watching. And like you said, Anthony, the double running clock, I don't think you saw that in movies. And I think Ridley here invents something we see a lot now, but you didn't see then. The 4th act. The 4th act surprise, which is kind of a thing they do in a lot of these alien movies. And I fucking love it. But now you almost expect it. Mm-hmm. She thinks she's safe in the shuttle, and she's stripping down to her fucking underwear, which is very weird.
I gotta call out real quick.
Yeah.
This is probably the main criticism, and I'm fully aware that other people have said this, but I'm also going to my biggest criticism is like why they couldn't get Sigourney Weaver a size of panties that were her size.
Ass crack is hanging out when she turns around. What are you
Why do they have her wearing child's panties?
Yes. It was very awkward. I was like, oh my God, she's stripping down. I was like, look at those tiny little underwear.
They're such a small. I mean, was that a thing? Were girls wearing tiny ass underwear in the 70s like that?
Oh, maybe it was.
Well, I guess. Was it a 70s thing? Was it a future thing? Was it what they thought people would be wearing in the future?
Yeah.
Maybe she grew past her underwear while she was in space.
Yeah, maybe she was.
Maybe she got taller. Yeah, you're right.
She had a growth
sleeping
spurt.
she's sleeping for a long time.
It is awkward, and I'm like, wow, look at her fucking butt crack. Just saying, what is this? What is this?
It's not flattering too because it's like not the best. It's like looks like a plumber's crack.
Yeah. Yes, right. It was very strange, but we see the Xeno, the alien, kind of nestled away, and he's just chilling.
He looked like he was awkwardly stuck behind that stuff.
I felt like he was napping. I think he was tired from his birth, and he was just
from what I read, there were like stuff. The reason why he's like hiding and slow that point is that he'd gone through his life cycle and he was dying.
Oh, he's already dying
because there's deleted scenes prior to this where you find what happens to Dallas and what's the Harry Dean Stan's character's name?
Kane.
Brett.
Oh, no. Oh, that's Brett. Harry Dean Stan.
Brett.
Right.
So you find out there's a scene where she's looking around.
Yeah.
It's a great scene. You should watch it. It's where she finds them and Brett is already like, you see half of his body in an egg. Like he's being morphed into an egg.
Yes.
And then you see Tom Skerritt as Dallas also like half being morphed into the egg. Yeah. And he's just like, help me.
Yeah,
help me. And she like has to kill them by burning them alive. But there was this whole like side thing where the alien captures you, and they didn't use this in future movies because obviously there's a queen in Aliens, but the alien captures you and then incapacitates you to basically fucking morph you into an egg, and you become your body becomes like lunch for the.
That's
like
how
your body becomes the yolk for a fucking face hugger.
For a face hugger,
right.
And that's the cycle continues because
right, and that's how it's killed. So it cycles, yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff online that the reason why the alien's like moving like that is because he's like dying.
He's on his last leg. Oh, right. Interesting.
What do you think is the passage of time in this?
It's got to be a couple hours, right?
From when they wake up, it's like a day.
I would say like a day.
Most.
Well, the Yaphet Kotto says what 17 hours, so you know it's at least a day. But then I'd assume it's got to be like 36 hours, probably.
So when they come back from the mission, and the guy's, laying down with the face hugger on him.
How long is he? Yeah, how long
is that? Is that like a day? Is that and then
I'd imagine it's got to be a day because they don't launch They don't go up into space until like it's still on his face when they go up into space.
I feel it's like 72 hours at max.
At max, it's got to be like 3 days.
Yeah,
at max, I would say it's probably even more. I'd say it's like a 36 to 40 hour time span.
Yeah, that seems about right.
But yeah, that's why they had the alien. But I do like, even though the alien's like moving slow, I do like that he's like camouflaged into a nook.
Yeah, and he's right. That shot is great where she's fixing the thing and his head is right there,
and his hand just goes.
Yeah, and you're like, oh shit, he's right there the whole time. The smooth head is right there.
Creepy.
I'm like, oh, he's just chilling. Oh, he's tired. Oh, he needs a nap. Isn't that cute? So she sneaks into a spacesuit, straps herself in, and then does the thing now that's at the end of every alien movie is flush him out of the airlock. And he hangs on, and she's got the thing that the grappling hook, she shoots at him, and then he gets caught under the burner. She lights him up. Doesn't burn really, but then kind of just floats away.
I think that the cable snaps.
The cable burns, and then he finally floats away. And then I love at the end when she's like, she's doing her log, and she's like, everybody else is dead. I'm the only one left. And she's like, I'm on my way back. I should be there in 6 weeks. Not knowing that you will be in that tube for 57 years, Ripley.
Yeah.
Until aliens, until James Cameron wakes you up again. But the cat is also in there with her, so I guess the cat shares. Fucking cat survived.
That's the start. That's the start of Ripley. Like it's fun watching that now and realizing, all the adventures she would go on, but that's that character's origin story.
Yes. You had no idea what she was. But even if you want, like, watching Aliens first, you didn't even really need to watch this movie because you totally get a sense of what she's been through.
You didn't need to watch this movie, but if you watch this movie, like, the movie is Aliens is a much better movie if you watch Alien.
Sure.
Because you see what she was, and you see the evolution of what the aliens become.
Right. Just the fact that there's more of them,
Right.
and it just becomes even, and you see what she went through. But yes, alternate castings. Meryl Streep was considered for Ripley, but her partner John Cazale had died, so they didn't talk to her. Helen Mirren.
Would you have liked Meryl Streep as Ripley?
No.
What do you think, Ruggs?
Well, Meryl Streep is a good actress, but I think that it's good that we have Sigourney Weaver because she's known for like these genre films like Ghostbusters. And
Sure.
so I think that it's cool that we have kind of our own like high caliber actress in these films.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think Meryl Streep she would have gone on to do a bunch of other stuff. This is not really her bag.
Sigourney's just like the perfect look, the perfect fit for this Ripley. I can't imagine anyone else playing her.
Yeah, she's a little bit more hard to peg down.
Mm-hmm. She's also got like a certain, even though she's skinny and she's wearing little kids' panties, she's got a certain physicality to her that, the other two just don't, she's tall.
The height helps, definitely.
Right? That height, I think, helps a lot. And she's got just a presence to her. Where it's not like, she's not like, like overly manly or anything, but she's definitely got like a sternness to her where you believe when she puts her foot down, she's like, no, like I'm fucking staying to my convictions here. Like this is, you believe, I don't know if I'd believe Meryl Streep could handle an alien.
She speaks with authority like right away, and you're like, oh, this chick knows what she's talking about.
Right.
And the story is Sigourney was like late to the audition. She went to the wrong room and she ran in, and they looked at her and she was the last one to audition, and they were like, that's Ripley. That's fucking Ripley. And she only did Broadway.
There was apparently a storyline that they were thinking about doing where she and like Dallas's character had a love story. Which is why she like maybe gets a little more upset when he goes. But I like that they didn't do that because you don't need the love story between them two.
Yeah, no, they're co-workers. They're all just working together. And the fact that they, it's a female hero protagonist, and then what Cameron does with the Ripley character at the end to make her even more badass. Like, I feel like that's pretty different too. For 79, probably didn't get a lot of that. The poster, remember the classic poster you mentioned, Anthony, with the egg? You notice how it's like a hen egg? Yeah. It's like a poultry egg. Well, originally the eggs were going to be hen eggs. It was the early concept, and that's what they went with the poster. But I always remember going, that's not what the eggs look like. This is like a fucking chicken egg, but these eggs look different. But you still got it. It made.
Yeah, they never had that green glow in the movies.
Yes, and they didn't have that either, and they look completely different. But the sound of the eggs and all the fucking animal parts they used, it's fucking.
Can I ask a question about just the aliens in general?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that we needed all these time jumps? I think that they were superfluous. Like, we didn't need to travel all these different times in the future. You could have just had the story continue from here out. No,
you mean from the first to the second one?
Yeah.
57 years.
Well, that's a good point. I think if you watch the director's cut, the reason why they have that time jump of 57 years is because they give Ripley a daughter. And then,
that's right.
And yes. Because Ripley was in cryosleep and got lost because of the alien, she basically lives her entire life without ever seeing her daughter as like an adult. And her daughter dies while she's asleep. So then that leads into the fact that she's so motherly towards Newt. So that's why they did the time jump. Is they wanted to have that time of her, the storyline of her like losing her daughter because of the alien.
Huh. I do remember that. The extended cut of Aliens is also,
and they wanted to give it enough time where then they'd gone to the derelict planet and built out a colony.
Right. So there's more of them, and there's a queen now.
Right.
And they,
but there's I think they, at least for the first two, they thoughtfully thought through. Say that twice. The time jumps. I don't know if in the later films, the rest time jumps.
I think that's what hurts the movies is that they jump around in time a lot.
Yeah,
and you don't feel that cohesiveness.
No,
and I never understood. And even though you've explained it to me and it sounds like a good idea, I still don't think they really actually needed it. But yeah, it's interesting.
But that gives Fede Alvarez a great reason to place his movie in between. Give them a big chunk of time to tell more stories. You know, kind of like what Star Wars.
There's a lot of time that passes.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see, you know, which alien this is. Will there be any mention of the Nostromo? Does anybody know what happened?
So when I was there,
Yeah.
you know,
San Diego.
hanging out with my boy Fetty.
Oh, yeah, you were hanging out with
just name dropping like that. He said that you don't have to have seen the movies to enjoy Alien Romulus, but he says if you do have seen Alien and Aliens, you'll see things where you're like, oh shit, that's it. Oh, like it'll make it a more enriching experience, but it's not necessary.
I'm glad we watched this before watching that movie because now I'm going to be looking for things and it's going to be fucking great. Catching all these Easter eggs. But yeah, it could just be. Yeah.
How do you feel about the new, not to make this about Alien Romulus because we haven't seen it yet, but they went in a different direction for the new heroine. So Sigourney Weaver is this really tall, you know, kind of like strong, and we have this very diminutive new female lead. That's kind of interesting that they're kind of breaking away from Alien 1 in that way. They're not trying to recreate Ripley, basically.
Yeah, they haven't really nailed the female lead since, right? So Resurrection, they did Winona Ryder, who was a female android.
Yeah.
In the AVP, they did like Sanaa Lathan. I don't know if those aren't actually canon, so who right? Yes, but then the Prometheus and then Alien Covenant, like they had female leads, but I don't think anyone remembers them.
Noomi Rapace is one of them.
Yeah, I remember her.
The Alien Covenant one, no one remembers who that lead is. It was a female, so they haven't really nailed it since they, you know. So going with a diminutive. I mean, I think that actress is pretty up and coming.
Yeah, Isabella Merced is going to be big. The rest of this cast is very
not Isabella Merced. I'm talking about Kaylee,
the girl from Civil War.
Yeah, she's the photographer girl, right?
She was in Pacific Rim Uprising. She was the one that built her own Jaeger.
Well, I guess like if you casted someone that was physically imposing, I think it would just be inevitable that you're comparing to Sigourney Weaver. You're still going to compare it, like if you're doing a female lead. So yeah, I will see.
I feel like it's like the trendy thing now. Like a lot of, you know, your Emilia Clarke's and like even like, you know, the Tomb Raider, they made her kind of smaller. It's just the trend of this.
But that's the great thing about the Alien series is that, yes, it is a staple of sci-fi. It's horror, it's sci-fi, it's action, it's everything. And it's got a female protagonist.
So, well, also there's also the fact of like the aliens and like their birthing and all this stuff. So it's like you have this evil birth versus like this, you know, a woman who's kind of like a pure, you know, birth type thing. So you have that like dichotomy there.
Yeah. Violent forced birth and a forced impregnation. Look, all I know is there going to be a cat in Romulus? There needs to be
I would say
kind of innocent creature that needs.
There's definitely a cat.
There's going to be some kind of thing that you have to protect. That's a plot thing also. But it looks like in Romulus, there's a lot of face huggers and they're coming out of different things.
The thing too about Romulus from what Fetty was saying is like what they're doing in this one is like each of these characters is very close with another character. So they're not doing like they're couples, but they're all like brother sister type vibes.
Yeah.
And the story of Romulus is like the two brothers and one dies. So like they're playing with the whole aspect of like dealing with this situation where you're close to someone and then you lose them like in the midst of all this shit.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
So it's not like canon father type thing, but more like they all have like these interpersonal relationships and how would that play out? So
I can't wait to see this.
I know.
It should be good. What do we think of Alien though?
All right,
rank it, review
wrap it up.
Whatever the fuck we want to talk about.
Give me final thoughts and a number and rank it, Anthony.
Yeah, final thoughts. I mean, what more can you say, right? We went through all the great moments in it. Talked about, you know, there's great acting, there's great cinematography. There's for 1979, it holds up. There's great tone. There's a grossness. There's these themes. You know, what more can you say about the movie? It's created. I mean, it's the first, I would say. I don't maybe if I'm wrong, but the first sci-fi horror movie. Right? I don't know if people were making sci-fi horror movies at that time.
Yeah.
It was either one or the other. It's just it's a masterpiece. It's a 10. If there's any movie that's a 10 out of 10, that's that one. It's 10 out of 10.
God damn. All right.
The only point I dock away if I had to was someone get Sigourney Weaver some panties that fit.
Do you, for your personal preference, do you like this better than Aliens? Where you would say, or are they're both tense?
In my opinion, they're both awesome, perfect films.
They are.
Aliens is infinitely more rewatchable.
Yeah.
But, as Ruggs and other people say, you don't get Aliens without Alien. Yeah. Also, they're just such different films, right? Like Alien is this like very moody, gross, like creepy horror film in space. Aliens is like, let's take the alien and turn it up to 11 and make it a war film in space. So they're both awesome. They're both. I prefer Aliens just on a rewatch, but this is one of the few occasions where, while I like Aliens better, Alien is like. It's the film. Like, it's the film that started us all. Like, you can't... The OG? I mean, it fucking created the alien. Like, that's one of the most iconic creatures in all of cinema.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Ruggs?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a perfect film. It's got a couple of janky shots. It's got some stuff that I don't understand as far as time and, alien growing quickly. Things like those are small things I can ignore in favor of what it does do well. And one of the reasons I like Ridley Scott as a director, he's one of my favorite, I'll say one of my top 5, right? Because he was there at the beginning. Like if you have this in Blade Runner, right? In the 70s, like this shit is still being copied by people. Like people can't even get to this level of art direction now if they wanted to. Like the fact that he knew to make this kind of atmosphere using like mist and fog, and the lighting was very, very like very low lighting. Everything was directional. There's that shot of Dallas in the thing, and he's being lit by he's holding the light in his hand.
He's holding the light source that's
and he's got a flame on the other, and it's giving him this, like everything's lit in a way that's natural, doesn't seem processed. You can see like all of the stuff that they built, the sets that they built. They're using like animal bones in the aliens, and it's painted jet black. It's just that ocean of that laser that with the mist, like even the way like Mother turns on and all of the computers
all
and
the lights
and the graphics,
and switches and buttons. It's so great.
I mean, that's all 70s, 60s stuff. But like they're trying to legitimize that in this movie. Like, what are all these fucking light bright things doing in there? Nobody knows. But they're trying to legitimize it. It's like, oh, this is a computer and these are diodes or something. Yeah. So they tried to like make it make sense. And you have like even the personality of the Nostromo and like its caverns and all the winding tubes, and
it has its own personality.
There's a show called Farscape that has a living ship, and it's almost like the inspiration for a living ship. It's alive. It has its own character, the Nostromo.
I would say Nostromo is an iconic ship in all of sci-fi movies. Would you guys say?
Well, the interiors, yes. The exterior, I couldn't tell you what the Nostromo looked like, but the interiors, I know an interior shot of a Nostromo when I see one. So all of that stuff, this android, the milky android, that's like all of these iconic things. So even if it's not a perfect film, it's like you have to like commend all of its artistic prowess. The direction is great, except for that one shot that should have been cut away. But it's a 10. Absolutely, it is a classic. So I very rarely give anything a 10.
Yeah, you very rarely give a 10.
I mean, I got nothing to add. This is widely considered to be one of the greatest and most influential science fiction and horror films of all time. And I would absolutely agree. The influence, the birth of this franchise, it is. I will give it a 10 too. Even though I, just like you, Anthony, I love Aliens. I prefer Aliens more. But this thing started so many things, and the behind the scenes story, the fact that these were like untested people, how everything just fell together. The look of it.
It shouldn't have worked at all.
This easily could have been a B movie.
Yeah, it's a B movie.
Anybody. It is a B movie if you think about what happens. But he elevates it. And I don't know how Ridley he did one movie called The Duelist, and then comes in and everybody is just firing, and
like think about this.
fucking great.
This
It's
movie
great.
is so minimal, it could be a stage play.
Yeah. Oh, there's I think somebody's making a musical, Alien the musical.
Don't do that.
This community theater is in 29. I think it happened in 2019. Some community theater did Alien the musical,
but it's like Glenn Ross with an alien.
It's just
it's a stage play. It's people yelling at each other. That's all it is. Most of the time.
I mean, it's the slowness, the tension, the silence, and then the noises. It's just fucking. It's perfect. It's so good.
The wet sounds. There's a lot of wet
so
sounds.
Moist. And I've always just loved Geiger's artwork and his aesthetic. Having discovered him watching these movies.
And now the Geiger lives on in these movies.
Yeah.
All of these movies have now taken that DNA and now it's been kind of passed down and reworked and reimagined. And so it does have staying power. It is something that not a lot of movies do. Can you say, like, Tim Burton's the only other person that I could think of that puts his artistic flair that's carried on through other films like that.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And Geiger was just like the designer, like the art designer. But yeah, fucking great. Can't wait for Alien Romulus next week. Let's do some news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
I got just one sad bit of news to report from our Facebook group, Jock and Nerd Nation. Shout out to Ray O'Neill, Ralph Bravo, to bring attention to this. We have lost a legend this week, everybody. We have lost the man who has given us this.
Get your hand off my penis!
In this.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
Oh, yes. National hero.
I'm talking about Jack Carlson. The man,
speak your name.
Man made famous for this arrest while he was enjoying a succulent Chinese meal. A meal passed away at 82. This arrest happened in 1991. He was being arrested for credit card fraud. But he has we have to pay our respects. I want to do one of two things, maybe both things. Do you want to hear the whole video? It's about a minute. The original video.
I think why not? Yeah.
I feel like it's worth paying. I mean, the man died.
I guess he did die. So play his video.
Man died.
He deserves this.
Let's give him his flowers.
He's given so much joy to everyone.
He's given us so much joy.
He was like a horrible human being.
Yeah, he was a terrible man. Well, it doesn't matter. He gave us someone saying, "Get my hand off. Get your hand off my penis."
We'll get into that. He was maybe not the best, but here it is.
You just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before. Why did you do this? For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Yes. I see that you know your judo
well.
Good one. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands off me. Ta-ta and farewell.
Farewell, sir.
Ta-ta and farewell, Jack Carlson.
Oh,
he was like an artist and apparently a bit of a con man and had a kind of a rap sheet.
Yeah, he probably was a piece of shit, but like still he's funny.
But holy shit.
In that moment, someone was taping him.
Yes.
And he just hammed it up for it and he just made it a moment and some great drops. Like we have some of the best drops.
You were the one who turned us on to this. He was a meme before like a meme was a thing.
I don't even remember how I stumbled upon this.
How did you find it?
I don't know. I don't remember exactly when, or it was on the internet. I was fucking around and I think on Twitter or something. And I just saw someone post it like, get your hand off my penis. And I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And it's hilarious. And just the fact that they were probably not grabbing his penis.
No, of course not. He just
Hand off my penis!
his penis, the best delivery.
But he made it all about, not about that he was probably committing credit card fraud, but that these guys were touching his penis. And then he just kept on talking about his limp penis, his self-deprecating, and he was having a laugh. And we all enjoyed it. And
for having a meal, a succulent Chinese meal.
Like all of these lines are so classic.
So he was huge in Australia. I think he was Australian. There was merch, T-shirts. Like he was their national hero for a little bit, even though he was a bit of a con man. But there's all these clips of Australian news.
Like we'll never have the fame of Arrested, Sir. I mean, people were talking about his death. It's on the news.
Yeah, it got huge
in America,
everywhere. Fucking this guy, and I was like, oh no. We have a lot of celebrity clips and sound drops from deceased people.
Like, where did you hear about his death?
Well, in the Facebook group, Ray O'Neill and Ralph Bravo posted it. And I was like,
heard it from somewhere. Yeah. I saw it on Twitter, definitely.
Yeah, it was kind of everywhere for a while. And now people, I think, we were on the Jack Carlson train for 10 years. Now people are discovering.
No, we've been on since as early as we can get on this train.
Yes. I see that you know your judo.
He will live on forever, sir. Arrested, sir, on this podcast. He had a good run. Anyways. Okay. Do we want to finish up with some what are we watching real quick? Anthony,
sure.
You watch anything, Anthony?
Nope.
Okay, Rugs, what do you got?
I watched season 3 of The Witcher.
Oh, with the Liam Hemsworth.
No, this is the old one.
Cavill. Okay.
Still Cavill. They haven't put out the new one yet, but I ignored this 3rd season after I heard he was going to quit.
Is it good?
And I was like, let me just watch it. I like Cavill, and it was all right. It was just mid grade. It was a lot of filler, and it was all right. It basically sets up the big bad for the next season. So we'll see how that turns out.
I bailed on that show after the first season.
I also watched Love Lies Bleeding, which is out on Max.
What's that?
It's a movie about, it's basically a true romance.
Oh,
like a fucked up version of True Romance. It's about a woman who works at a gym, and then one day a girl bodybuilder comes in and she falls in love with her.
Okay.
And they basically kind of like a Drexel situation that's going on.
Pimp, she got to kill her pimp,
and someone's got to die, and they basically get into this crime spree together, I guess. And it's not as big and bold and crazy as True Romance, but it's basically the same concept.
It's about women bodybuilders.
Yeah, well,
interesting.
And there's like a lot of sex scenes. Who is the Kristen Stewart? Is that her name?
Yeah. Is she in this?
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart plays
Kristen
Lou.
Stewart. Yeah. And the girl from is it Andor? Or what is she in? She's in
Dave Franco's in this. Jenna Malone. Is that who you're talking about?
No, the girl she was like in the Star Wars TV show.
Katie O'Brien.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's the bodybuilder one. She was like the one of the
she was one of the officers in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's right.
Ilya Kane with the cloner dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Stuff.
So she's in this, and yeah, so it's a kind of a good movie. It needs to be. I don't think it's great. It's just good.
Okay.
That's all right. It's like it's got its moments. It does some weird shit. I don't know what it's doing, but it for exaggeration's sake. But it's all right. And so that's what I watched.
That's it? Well, you still watching those about to die?
I watched the Batman.
Oh, Batman Cape Crusader. Did you watch the whole series, all 10 episodes? Okay.
Yes.
I also kind of flew through those and binged them. Now, I know you had some concerns after watching the first episode, but having watched the whole thing, what are your thoughts on this?
It was fine.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It wasn't terrible.
It was okay.
It was just a little boring, actually. I was a little bored.
Well, really?
Yeah, there's a lot of episodes and Batman's hardly in them.
That's true.
I don't really care. I didn't like what they did with Harley Quinn at all.
Harley Quinn drastically different. And in fact, you get a Harley Quinn before they bring in a Joker, which is also interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I thought that was bad.
I mean, I kind of like the
I didn't
setup.
like Harvey Dent either being a dick.
You like the Harvey? So I kind of like they did a villain of the week every episode. It was a different bad guy, but there was this overarching Harvey Dent.
It doesn't track
storyline.
because Harvey Dent is supposed to be like a good guy turns bad. That's the tragedy. But he's like an asshole who turns badder.
Yeah, Diedrich Bader voicing him. He was kind of a dick, and then
he was like a dick. He was working with the mob.
Yeah,
like,
but then
it just sucked a lot of the wind out of the characters. Like Harley Quinn not being in love with the Joker and just being her own thing. That's stupid. I didn't like that either. And then they had all these episodes that Batman was barely in. So I was like, I don't know. I felt like I was bored by it more than I was entertained. There was some. I love the animation and the look of it. And
I love time. There's a lot of Easter eggs of pulling from the actual 40s comics. Like you mentioned, Alfred, they made Alfred like chunky and fat, but the original Alfred in the 40s comics kind of looked like that. A lot of it reminds me of the Superman Fleischer, the Fleischer cartoons animation a little bit. I believe in one scene where there's reporters, you see like the Lois Lane that looks just like the Lois Lane from the Fleischer cartoons. But I did like this 40s kind of time period.
It had the animation was good and the look of it and the 40s setting I liked a lot. I just thought I was bored for most of it. I thought it was gonna be way better. Like I'd rather watch the old cartoon. It's much better.
Right. They did a little Gentleman Ghost episode just like they did in the original. So like there's like ghosts and supernatural things.
Yeah, that was okay. That was an okay episode.
It's all right. I'll agree.
What about Those About to Die? Did you like it?
Have you gotten through all of them?
Yeah, watch it all.
Oh, I still got 2 episodes
what
left.
About for Those About to Rock?
We salute you. But that's what he says in the show. For those about to die, we salute you. I really dig this show. It's kind of scratching the itch after Game of Thrones.
So you didn't like it at first, but now you're like
into it. I got into the drama. Like I need to find out what happens to these characters. There's some great twists and turns. There's some great gladiator battles. It's essentially a show about sports and politicians and betting in ancient Rome.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's kind of great. It's about like the sports industry and these gladiator races, the 4-horse chariot races, and all the machinations. And there's boobies in it and adult stuff. I'm digging it. And like the sets are interesting because it's like really clean Rome, which I guess that's what it would have looked like when it was new.
What, Rome?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's not clean in the Suburra, but like, yeah, in the palace, it's immaculate. They have slaves cleaning the shit out of it, So everything's gonna be clean and pristine over there.
I'm digging it. I'm
talking about urine. They're talking about we need urine.
Oh yeah. They're like the price of urine or something, and
yeah,
it's a commodity.
Sure.
Anthony Hopkins is good. It's a good show.
I think everybody acts well. Everybody did a great job. Everybody was cast pretty well.
Ramsey Bolton's great to watch.
I think that he's a little bit miscast, but he did a good job, even though he's kind of like not the leading man type, I would say. But
that big dude Flama, the gladiator, that dude is crazy. That dude is fucking giant.
Yeah.
He's great.
It's pretty badass. Everything is... It's a good watch. I would say not great, but I think it's definitely better than the season 3 of The Witcher I just watched, which was like bordering on WB. Like it was like there was no sense of reality or anything in that.
Oh, jeez. And I don't know if that's how historically accurate any of this is, but it looks
no. It's the Flavian dynasty.
Yeah,
they did have. They were building the Flavian Amphitheater, which is known as the Colosseum. They were trying to move it from Circus Maximus. All that stuff that's all legit. Vesuvius did erupt around the Flavian dynasty. So yeah, so all that stuff does happen.
Wait, and I think in episode 8 is when he goes, because he's what's his name? Domitian is building the Colosseum. Somebody, and he's like, "Can we flood this?" And I was like, "Oh shit, how are they gonna do this?"
They did flood the Colosseum in the beginning, so that's accurate too.
Oh, they did. That's right.
It's not 100% accurate. I would say it's about 65% accurate. So
it's pretty good. I'm digging it. It's like mid-range, not like Game of Thrones level, but it's not garbage. It's like definitely
it's like a few steps below Game of Thrones, but it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. If you're missing some Roman.
There's just one episode where everybody becomes gay all of a sudden.
That happens here and there on this.
Also, like, oh my, they're all okay. Yeah, okay. whatever. But it was just an abrupt turn in some of the characters all of a sudden. But like,
it happens. It's Rome.
Yeah, but other than that, though, it's not. It's pretty good.
All right, check out those things, and listener, check out Alien Romulus coming out this week. We'll be doing a full spoiler review next week. It's going to be great. That's it for this week, Ruggs. Where can the people find you online?
Rug Boy Show on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Get those numbers up. Anthony, where can the people find you?
I got nothing clever to say, so I'll just say I'm going to be watching Alien Romulus at the movie theater this week. Find me there. Find me at an AMC IMAX showing because I have a free upgrade from San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, nice.
My boy Fetty hooked it up.
Nice.
Thanks to Hall H. In the meantime, check out our website. Check out the show notes, episode description for links to everything, how to support, how to get in touch. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll beep you later.
And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Get your hand off my penis!
Jock and Nerd